The future is already here, but access to it is not equal. Technology has transformed what is possible. It has changed how we create, connect, and build. Yet too many people are still locked out by cost, complexity, and opportunity. We believe technology should open doors. Money should never decide who gets to build. That is why we created VC26, backed by our commitment to give 10% for good. Today, we open the VC26 Open Pitch Room, a live space for founders to pitch, learn, and be heard. Free to attend, open to founders everywhere, and built to give more people access to advice, feedback, and opportunity. One room, one community, one belief. The future should be open to more people. Welcome to VC26. Welcome to the Open Pitch Room. The pitching begins now.
Hello and welcome to the pitch room. Thank you everyone for joining so early. I know a lot of you do not have pitch slots until later on in this 4 hour of madness. So just to give a little heads up of what we're going to be doing today, we'll just do a quick introduction. Oh, hello, Boardy Boardman. Hello, Ziad. Hello, Phil. Hello, Prashant. Hello, Benny. So many people joining right now. So what we're going to do is probably do a quick introduction of who we are, how this will work, and take it from there. So in case you don't know me, I'm Chris. I'm one of the co-founders of Datumra. VC26 is our fully funded venture competition, and this is one of the events that we're running. The idea of today's session is to give everybody the opportunity to pitch, to practice pitching. If you're here as an observer, this is an opportunity for you to get stuck in, learn about pitching, build up some confidence. The whole plan with this session is it's founders helping founders. There are some investors in the room that I've invited along and some venture scouts. Hello, Benny, who are very supportive and are amazing people. And investors, founders, we're all people at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about what we can make happen today. So whether you are pitching or whether you are just observing, let's have some fun. We're here for 4 hours. Well, me, Kenneth, and Coral are. We're not expecting anybody to stay for the full 4 hours. We are recording this. So if you want to stay, yes, absolutely, Benny. We're opening up the chat. Please share your contact information. If you like anyone's pitches, and we're actually going to recommend, if you are pitching, please do put your contact details in the chat. If you want to connect with people on LinkedIn, or you're happy to drop emails in there. This is all about making some very valuable connections. So I've talked a lot, and we're already 3 minutes into the session. So I'm going to just throw it over to Coral for a quick introduction, and then introduce our first honored judge and panelist of the day, Kenneth. So let's go straight over to Coral.
Okay, I'm going to be very quick. Chris was supposed to be very quick. So many of you will know me. I'm the co-founder of Datumra. I've been in a lot of sales and marketing, in broadcast journalism, and I'm very much into the art of storytelling. So I'm going to be here to support, and I'm also going to give some feedback as well today. And if you want to know anything else, I'm happy to share lots of information and contact details with everyone later. But good luck, everybody.
Thank you so much, Coral. Kenneth, thank you so much for joining us today. And when I invited you to join this session and just say, would you come in, give some of your amazing advice and guidance to some of the people in the room, never did I expect you to say you were going to join us for the full 4 hours. So thank you so much. That's just absolutely amazing. And if you don't know Kenneth, you really should, because Kenneth has done some absolutely amazing things. #Dragon's Den. But let's throw it over to you. Introduce yourself, and we'll take it from there, Kenneth.
So why do we specialize in storytelling for founders? Well, it wasn't exactly part of the plan. For many years, I worked as a filmmaker and a content producer, working with brands and businesses to solve their marketing issues. Basically, if you needed a creative way to say, hey, look at us, I was a guy, but then I got a message that changed things. Sam, the founder of Generate, reached out after delivering the best pitch ever on Dragon's Den.
Hello, Dragons. My name's Sam Jones.
Their words, not mine. They're not my words.
One of the best pitches that I've ever heard.
But there's one thing you should know about momentum. It's great until it runs out. Telling your story doesn't end with one viral moment or one really successful pitch. In reality, that's where the hard work really begins. Sam and I set out to create stories that went beyond the 50 minutes of fame. Stories that documented the growth of the startup, covering all of the ups and all of the downs. But these are stories that didn't sell, they connected. Over time, these stories helped Sam to grow his team. They enabled him to speak at one of the biggest tech conferences in the world.
Sam Jones of Generate.
He grew not just a following, but a community across all of his socials. And I guess, most importantly, he was able to raise funds. But these are just numbers. Why should you care? I realized founders like Sam, like you, need stories that work for you in a different way. Because telling the story about your business or your brand is easy, but telling your story and your journey is somewhat different. And that's why we created Scale Story.
What are we going to record, Ken? What are we going to talk about?
Today, we help founders and CEOs scale their influence with video-first personal branding. Think of us as the secret weapon to storytelling that actually works. Your personal brand isn't about being visible. It's about being unforgettable. Because people connect with stories, not ideas. People connect with you, not just your business. Because let's face it, connecting with people isn't buzzwords, jumping on trends, or creating PowerPoints that under-deliver. It's stories that make people sit up and go, hey, I want to be part of that journey. So if you're ready to stop blending in and start standing out, let's get to work. Because your story isn't just worth telling, it's worth remembering. That's it, that's all I got. Stay curious, keep scaling.
You are too kind. It is a pleasure to be here, and really, really kind of nice to be able to kind of be part of this journey and helping people along their way with pitching. I, very quick introduction, run a narrative consultancy called Scale Story. So much like Coral, very much into the world of storytelling, and our big mission basically is using storytelling to unlock growth at scale, pretty much, which is all in the title. Happy to connect with all of you on LinkedIn, but really and truly, it's not about me, it's not really about us, it's about you guys today. So have fun, share the things you've been building with ambition, and my only job really over the next 4 hours is to give honest and open feedback on how the world can see what it is that you're building.
Amazing, so amazing. So without further ado, let's go on to some pitching. We're just going to throw some ground rules into the room to get us started. So everyone should have had their pitch window over the next 4 hours. This is a live event. Anything could happen. Some people may be late, delayed. We might get some no-shows. We are going to try and run this as smoothly as possible. But there's some ways that you can help us try and make this as organized chaos as possible. So a couple of ground rules. When we have someone pitching, please stay quiet. Let's keep the chat in the group chat to a minimal. Let's try and not have distractions, because I know if you're pitching, if there's someone chatting away in the chat, there's someone who's not put their mic on. I think we've disabled mics temporarily, so I think that may just protect us. I think we've done it so you put your hand up, we can unmute you, and then that's how it will work. Just the general rule of today is treat others how you would like to be treated. If you are pitching, let's make sure that we create a great environment. And if someone's nervous, just give them that space. This might be their first time they've ever pitched. Let's just try and be supportive and make sure that today is something that they can take away and it's really valuable for them. So how it's going to work, we're going to have 90 seconds of pitching, followed by 3.5 minutes of panel feedback. So me, Kenneth, Coral, and a few other special guests who will be joining us soon will be giving feedback. If you have your own feedback, please feel free to share it in the chat. Or if you feel like there is some advice or guidance you could give to somebody, please connect with them afterwards. We're all about building community and seeing how we can help each other. So pitch, feedback, and then we'll try and swiftly go on to the next person. So when we're pitching, you'll have this red screen on. So please do not disturb. Mics off unless you're speaking, and hold the chat. There'll be a 90-second clock that will appear on the screen. Once that 90 seconds has finished, your microphone will instantly cut out and no one will be able to hear you. So make sure that you are... Hi, Bordy. Let's have some fun. So this screen will come up once the 90 seconds is over. That's where we're getting it in, and then quick turnaround to have a pitch. Does anybody have any questions?
Not really a question, but do you mind opening up the emojis so we can say like or love? Or...
No, definitely not.
Okay.
We've paused the emojis just while the pitching's going on.
Yes.
Again, sometimes it's nice getting that, but other times it can be distracting. So we did a bit of a vote when we did the practice session and said, would you rather have emojis or not? And the vote was to turn them off on this occasion. But no, I do know what you mean. Would our first pitcher like to unmute themselves, please?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
And we will begin.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is David, founder and CEO of Millenia Studio. I spent years playing simulation games, especially nation simulators. Eventually, I wanted something more. I didn't want more features. I wanted a world that could actually live, where people, businesses, and governments make decisions that aren't explicitly scripted, and where actions create consequences I can't predict. That question became Millenia. We are building a persistent living world using generative AI and blockchain, combining 5 simulations: life, politics, economy, business, and nation building into one evolving world. Players experience it as a game, but the platform is much bigger. The same technology can be licensed to enterprises, governments to simulate markets, organizations, policies before decisions reach the real world. And we are not starting from an idea. Since December 2025, I have taken Millenia from concept to working prototypes with autonomous AI agents and an interconnected economic simulation while building the company, research, and roadmap around it. We are raising $5 million for our technical de-risking phase, providing this infrastructure can operate at scale. And underneath, it is a simulation engine built from ground up, licensable like Unreal or Unity, designed for...
And I think that is a really good example of how short 90 seconds can be when you want to tell your story. And that's really a really good attempt at pitching, trying to say as much as you want to say. But the only problem with storytelling is you have to say things a lot more concise so that you're actually fitting in the 90 seconds. So you might be using a shorter rather than try to say everything about your business, give something that you've got that's memorable, that is impactful in the time that you're speaking and what you come away with. I think it was really tough to go first. So I would just want to congratulate you on your confidence, because it came across, your passion and your confidence in what you're talking about. Just far too much content in 90 seconds for someone to then remember and to take something away from it. Was that, I'm thinking, is this your first pitch, or you've practiced, but the 90 seconds, it's a good thing to maybe get a clock and time yourself and really make sure that you're sticking to that 90 seconds. Be dynamic, be impactful, give something that someone can remember and think, wow, that's great. And sometimes saying less, you actually say a lot more. That's my feedback, but well done. Congratulations. It was tough to go first, really tough.
Yeah. Huge congratulations. I think, just like Coral said, it's tough going first, but at least you've got it out the way, you've got it done with. I would probably say the same things. You try to put a lot of content in there, fantastic information, but sometimes it's good to try and get the story into a little bit more of a thread that just gets their attention. So a model I love to use is the attention, interest, desire, action. Be really clear on how you want the story to come across. How are you going to build their interest? How are you going to make them desirable about what you are building? And if you are speaking to a specific investor or a client, it's always good to thread in what you're asking for, if possible. So, or a little bit about what your biggest challenge you're solving right now. So, no, very well done on going first. Kenneth, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think echoing what everyone has said, I think huge props to you, David, for going first. I think even with the idea of like how it is that you can frame everything in 90 seconds, I think one of the easiest things that we can overlook is the main thing that you're solving. And I think it's like leaving people with clarity on what the problem you're solving is probably one of the most key things you can do in those 90 seconds. Because then you've got the opportunity to lean into that desire element that Chris mentioned, where it's like, okay, I want to be part of this, whether it's by way of staff, by way of they want to invest as part of that kind of 5 million raise, whatever the case may be. You want to not worry about doing everything in 90 seconds and worry more so about being able to say to somebody, look, we're solving something really big. We've got really great traction, regardless of whether it's early traction or late traction. And you can talk to me more after, but just leave that Easter egg, I think is a really fantastic thing. So well done for squeezing a lot in 90 seconds, but I think, yeah, always try and drive home the clarity of the problem so that people can have a next step to kind of look towards.
I want to temporarily turn on the emojis because I think that deserves a lot of emojis, lots of love, lots of congratulations. So hopefully you can all do that now. There we go. So much love in the room. No, absolutely fantastic. Wow, there was massive confetti there. Okay, our second speaker, and I believe they have just joined, is Michael.
My name is Michael Oscar Enej. I have a bit of a challenge because I was imparting young children about changing mindset in the community for my time after. Hello, my name is Michael Oscar, and I'm building an operating system for African informal businesses. It's called Opus Intelligence. It's an AI that will help informal businesses structure their company, formalize, so that they are able to apply for loans. They are able to do what a business coach or a counselor can do for them. But when you come to Africa, people don't have business coach. It's more like they are building something like Damaturi, but then for Africa, which is the Opus Intelligence. So it's more like a computer. The Opus stands for Operating Business Operating System, where these businesses are able to, by themselves with the AI, build their business, structure it properly so that this business can be transgenerational. They can live up to 10 to 20 years because we don't have transgenerational businesses in Nigeria. And then you're also able to build your businesses so that you will access loan, access capital. So this AI helps you do all that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you were very under time. So that's amazing timekeeping on that one. Just as a rule, we'll keep the emojis on, but let's just avoid using them until the end of the pitch. Fantastic. Amazing. Who would like to jump in?
Thank you so much. I'm grateful, sir.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy to jump in if that's okay. Yeah, Michael, great pitch, great energy as well. I think it's something that is, that doesn't really get said much, where it's kind of like you go on in your pitch and it's just like, okay, we've got to say these words. What I loved about what you were, I guess, sharing was obviously the size of the opportunity and the way in which you're working. One thing that I think I'd be careful of is kind of like the idea of things not being available in territories, Africa, Europe, wherever the case may be. Because what the pushback you might get is the first question that gets put in someone's mind is this where you are, or is this the whole territory? So just keep that in mind, that whenever you're making a statement like that, it's always easier to leave with tractional metrics by saying, 1 out of 5 people don't have access to this, or 7 out of 10 businesses don't have access to this, rather than saying this doesn't exist in any country, because you can turn off interest just because of a small sentence. That'd be my feedback there. But no, well done, very well done.
I just want to go on from what Kenneth said. You could actually feel the enthusiasm in your voice when you were making your pitch. I love the fact you stuck under the 90 seconds, but you also showed us I always think when you're pitching, you should show there's a problem and that there is a solution, and then have an ask. So they're the three things that I like to see in it. I do agree completely with what you're saying, Kenneth, about this. If you make a bold statement, it kind of leaves a little bit of credibility, and that little bit of doubt in your mind is this credible, what they're saying? Is this actually right? It can actually then turn an investor against what you're saying. But I actually thought that was really well done, and it's just getting it polished, practicing, getting it out there a little bit more as well. But well done.
Yeah, I love what you said, Kenneth, about how you want to make it so it's really clear who it applies to, and like not saying, oh, there's nobody has access to it, and actually putting it into some metrics that do make sense. I think that's absolutely fantastic advice. And I would just an additional point on that is I would never assume that an investor knows anything. I would always assume. So if you work in like a niche industry, or you work in tech, and your tech world has all these acronyms or all these crazy things out there, I think it's so important just to make sure that your pitch is easy to understand regardless of their knowledge or where they are. It takes a lot of confidence to get out there to pitch. Just keep practicing. Like, my advice is to pitch again. Try different ways of pitching. See if you pitched to 10 different people and told the story in 10 different ways, which of those 10 ways make people lean in, or they're the most interested in. So Kenneth, you said in your video, your story is always changing. And I don't think there is a truer thing, because your pitch right now is only a snapshot of where you are right now. In 12 months' time, your pitch is going to be completely different. So I think that's fantastic advice just to put in there. And it's an evolving thing. Okay. Then we will move on to Jean-Claude.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jean-Claude Niyonkuru. I'm a final midwifery student at Chiboga Polytechnic in Rwanda, and the founder of MedicaKing Nutrition Hub, a community-based social enterprise tackling child stunting, where in Rwanda we have 27% and maternal anemia 26% in the rural area in Rwanda. Then MedicaKing establishes nutrition hubs led by trained midwives and community health workers, offering screening, education, supplements, and affordable fortified foods. Our cross-subsidization model ensures sustainability, where sales to paying families fund free services for the poorest. I have 6 team co-founders and mentors from Chiboga Polytechnic and from Karame Mubyeyi, and we are seeking around $10,000 to launch the first hub. And with your support, we can scale MedicaKing across Africa and Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You had loads of time there at the end. I think you went in straight to the point. You showed some great signs of what traction you've already had, where you've already implemented this, and you gave a very nice story where it brought in what you're doing, what traction you've had so far, and what your ask is. One thing I would avoid saying is that you're using the money just for scaling. I think loads of people go to investors with this phrase, oh, I want to scale. They want more specifics. What are you using that money for? Not just the word scale, but what specifically are you bringing into the mix with that money that is going to give you a competitive advantage, or build one of your moats out, or give you something that will allow your business to 10x to 100x. But no, absolutely fantastic.
Yes, thank you. This initiative, I want to establish it is because I work with Rwanda Red Cross, and where I serve the 16,000 refugees, and I see what they are stunting, children stunting, and maternal anemia, and across 5 clinical rotations in hospitals in Rwanda. And this gives me an initiative to start a launch or to start a hub which can facilitate those people around which are struggling with those issues like child stunting and maternal anemia. And I have ambitions, I can achieve them, those things which are frustrating Rwandans, youth and children.
Yeah. No, amazing. Thank you so much. We've hit time, so we're going to have to move on to our next picture. So Ziad, you are the next up.
Okay, wait, don't start yet. Let me just prepare myself.
let me get the clock ready as well. So you've got a few seconds while I get the clock ready.
I have my stopwatch too.
Amazing.
Okay.
So start when you're ready.
Oh wait, just give me a second. And now. Okay. Hey everyone. My name is Ziad, and I'm a 17-year-old currently working on a company that aims to redefine the logistics industry and many more industries to come. A common problem for logistics companies or any companies worldwide is that they dedicate a significant portion of their revenue towards paying employees that work for them, which greatly impacts profits and the business's ability to grow and scale. And that's why we are building Mysquoria, or MSQ for short, a hard tech startup with the aim of building a new infrastructure that allows society to operate on its own without the need for humans to intervene. We are doing this by modifying systems rather than creating them, which is our main value proposition and what differentiates us from other companies doing the exact same thing. For our first product, we are currently building a hardware software package that can seamlessly attach to container ships to make them fully autonomous. This would result in logistics companies saving costs from the compensation of employees, delays in receiving shipment, since we intend to make this technology more reliable than humans, and of course, damaged customer relationships because of such delays. I'm simply an incredibly ambitious and disciplined teenager who will stop at absolutely nothing until he achieves his goals. Thank you.
Fantastic, and just in time. I'll just start by saying I loved your energy in that pitch. You showed a lot of passion. You brought a lot of energy into the room. I think you spent a little bit too much time, however, painting the picture around what you were trying to do rather than going into the specific product and what you were building. So I was looking for, okay, but what exactly is the product? What is the product? I asked that a couple of times and then he came in. But I think you probably could cut and move that to much earlier in your pitch and just go into the impact of that a lot sooner. But otherwise, I think that was a great effort there, Ziad. Thank you.
So I'm going to echo the same thing, Ziad. I absolutely love your energy. You didn't have to say at the end that I'm ambitious because I'd already felt that energy. At 17, you're on screen, you're very confident, you spoke very confidently. I would actually just echo what Chris was saying about too much probably information at the beginning. I was also waiting for your ask at the end. What is it that you wanted? Because then you kind of what you did a really nice thing. You showed the problem probably too much. You did show the solution, what you were hoping to do. I kind of got that. And then you went back as this like, and I'm really ambitious and did it. And I thought, no, we know that. Great energy. What is it you want from me? I was waiting for that. But I just thought that was really, really good. And the fact you're 17 blew me away. That is really good. You've got a lot that you can build on and work on. And I'm sure you'll go far if you keep that enthusiasm. So well done.
I'm going to jump in and give very, very light feedback because I think exactly as everyone said, it's insane to see someone of your age being able to kind of pitch at that level. So huge props to you and all the kind of practice you did beforehand. I won't rehash anything that's been said by way of, exactly the things that basically could be tweaked, could be improved. I think there's one thing that I would say for you to kind of continue forward with, which is in every single pitch, there's always a level of like founder credibility that I guess pretty much investors look for, and also like the clarity of problem. And those two things you drove really, really well. I think, again, likely to rehash the point of the ask. Yeah, the ask is probably the most important, the only reason why you're pitching. So make that the part that you're as happy to share at the very end, because yeah, you did such a great job of getting us to there. And then right at the end, it was like, okay, cool, what's happening next? But no, great stuff, and looking forward to see the future of it.
Amazing. Yeah, the level of confidence here is fantastic.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hello, everyone. And my name is Prashant, and I'm from India, basically. And I built one platform for gamers right now who play chess. And my idea is to use chess in a daily life or in real world. Like we see many people play chess, very hardcore gamers, like players are playing chess all over the world. If you know very basic of the chess, you can relate how we can use the chess strategy into real life. So we have very live platform for that, where we can analyze your real game like into every situation if you put on the website, and you can have some strategic thinking and life profile thinking, and we are moving towards that. So not to speak more, like you can just go on a chesslikeforyou.com and experience our.
I think it looks like we hit
Prashant,
time.
something happened with your microphone. We just missed the last few seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Like it's just saying you can connect on LinkedIn if you want to connect with afterwards. Like I just copy my link here in chat.
Fantastic. No, thank you so much. I'm gonna actually just go straight in because I am a personal. I love chess. I absolutely love chess, and I think that business is a game of 5D chess. Whenever you're putting your strategy together, your execution together, I absolutely think that being great at chess has some fantastic initiatives when it comes to actually doing well in business. There's a fantastic book called Your Next 5 Moves, Master the Art of Business Strategy. And I would actually, if I was putting some more story narrative into your pitch, try and see who are the big business leaders out there that have played chess or secretly play chess, and bring in a little bit of a kind of a FOMO, because I think what you're doing by bringing chess into life is actually quite powerful. The only thing I would say is just find the right narrative and story where you can really position the value of that into the business itself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I jump in here really quickly? Prashant, before I get feedback, one quick question. How long have you been building this business?
It's been 3 months and we got around 30K users on our website right now, as they are like very fast to see, as this is very new concept. And yes, pretty much we got some users right now, and daily we got 200 to 300 users every day.
Yeah, this is a fantastic response. The reason why I asked the question is because getting 30K users within 3 months, having daily active users about 200 is fantastic stats. Fantastic stats. The main reason why I ask is because I think you should be very proud of what you're doing. I think there are tons of different things that we could tell you about what you could do with the wording and the order of things, but in actuality, starting a business is really hard. Growing a business, scaling a business is really hard. I would walk into any room and be very happy to say, hey, look, this is what I'm building. Really excited to share it, and invite people along on that journey, because anyone would be silly not to think that this is going and build great places, but they need to know that. So yeah, take that energy from the last 3 months of building and share it with the world. that'd be my main feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I'm actually going to echo what you've just said, Kenneth, because that one question you've just asked, it definitely should be in the pitch, because anyone in 3 months have got 30K users. That's serious traction, and that gets your interest straight away. Be really proud of it. You're actually saying this is what he's done in 3 months. Imagine where that could be in 6 months or in a year, and you're just starting. I mean, it's baby, it's early days, and look at the results you've done. So yeah, I'd be extremely proud of that. So well done, well done. Just get those facts in, and then get your asking as well. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Amazing. Ziad, you do have your hand up.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to thank Prashant. It's an amazing pitch. Congratulate him more specifically. It's an amazing pitch. The fact that you already have revenue or you have traction, it shows a lot, and that's sufficient for any investor to be extremely interested in investing in such a business. I would say just approach with more confidence, maybe use more body language, use more emotion, similar to what I did. Maybe slightly tone it down a bit because I think I overdid it. But I think emotions is very important. Show your emotions, because when you use those emotions, when you use the body language, it makes your pitch more memorable. It's even said that communication is not verbal.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll just add on to that. When you pitch, people will not remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And if you watch some of the most influential speakers out there, you will notice that they'll try and put in 2 or 3 different emotions when they're speaking to put people through different emotional states, so you will engage with them at a deeper level than them just giving you information. And another thing I would just also add on is how you present yourself is quite personal. Some people are energetic, some people have different types of energies. The most important thing I find is to really just find the energy that is right for you and is a genuine dictator of who Prashant is. That would be my advice.
Oh, well done. Well done. It's very impressive what you've built, what you're doing.
It might be good for us to do a quick 5-minute Q&A of the pitches so far, and because I think there's a lot of insights that are going to be thrown out in the session today. And it'd be good just if you've got any reflections that you specifically want to go on to. Ziad, you've got your hand up, but let's see if anyone else in the room also wants to get involved. We're trying to get as many people involved in the conversation as possible. Or if there's someone who's heard any of the pitches and has some feedback that they'd also like to share, would love to have you involved in the conversation as well. Please feel free to raise your hand. Anybody else other than Ziad?
Go on, get Ziad's question.
Go on, Ziad.
Hey guys, hello, it's me, it's Ziad. So I just want to make a comment because you asked one of the pieces of advice that you gave me is to put the ask. I didn't know I needed to put the ask for this pitch session specifically, so I'm just gonna tell you the ask right now. What I'm trying to get right now is a pre-seed investment of $50,000 to $100,000 in order to build the MVP. So that's to build a hardware prototype, since it's a hard tech startup that I'm currently working on. So I just wanted to comment on that. So that's my ask, basically. If I were to say the pitch again, that would be my ask.
Okay, and just incorporate that in your 90 seconds. So what you're doing is you're giving an overflow of the problem, what you're solving, and this is what you're looking for. You might never get your ask, but unless you ask for it, you just don't know what might happen. So you put your ask in when you're pitching it. It's always good practice, because you're saying, this is really what I need. This is the next step. to help me move on and go further. We've got a couple more people with questions. Woo!
I just want to add, like, energy is infectious. So when you are pitching, make sure you are feeling it in the voice and in the way you're actually moving. Big wide diaphragm, stand tall, stand proud. And I'd just like to share a little bit of knowledge from my mentor, Tony Robbins. If you have a cup of coffee and someone bumps into you and you spill the coffee, why did you spill the coffee? Now, you can say because someone bumped into you, or maybe you was holding the cup wrong. No, it's because you had coffee in the cup. Now, if you had tea in the cup, you'd spill tea, right? So let's put it into perspective. If you're full with anger, hatred, animosity, and someone bumps into you, you're going to spread anger, hatred, animosity. However, if you change the perspective and you're filled with positivity, love, and gratitude, someone bumps into you, you're going to spread positivity, love, and gratitude. Inner world fixes outer world.
I love that, Lewis. That's really, I think reframing is such a powerful thing. And the fact that two people can see the exact same thing under two very different stories. I feel like, Kenneth, you've just brought into the room that everything's going to be about stories today. So I think that's the theme of this 4 hours, that I think storytelling is so important. And if you think someone bumps into you, spills a coffee, they've got a story of what has happened there, and you've got a story. If anyone in the room is into Stoic philosophy and the circles of control, you only really have control over two things: your thoughts and your actions, and everything else doesn't really matter. And from a pitching standpoint, if you're pitching, so say you're pitching in front of an investor, you've only got your thoughts in your head and your actions of the words that you're speaking. You have no control over whether or not that investor has an interest in what you're discussing, or whether that investor actually has the ability to say yes to you. All you've got is your control of your thoughts and your actions. And I think that's a fantastic lesson. So thank you so much for sharing that, Lewis.
Can I just say, I love that, Lewis. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really good. I think sometimes you need to think about things in a different way. And I love when people share these kind of information.
So Alessia, hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I was going to ask, because before you said you mentioned to what the product is, but because I make films, sometimes I'm struggling with that kind of question, because the product doesn't exist yet, and it's literally a film. So when it comes to that, is it better to pitch the actual film idea, or is it better to just talk about the fact that you're interested in having a conversation and you want to work in film and maybe do projects together?
Always when you're pitching, sorry, can I just jump in here? Always when you're pitching, pitch like this: sell the sizzle, not the steak. Now, the steak being the physical product, the sizzle be the outcome. Sell the outcome, not the steak.
Okay. So the outcome would be the film screenings and the film events and the ability to create community through cinema.
Or emotion, impact on an emotion, etc. And then you create curiosity. So it's like, sell me this pen. Well, if I say, do you want to buy this pen, you ain't going to be interested. Whereas if I say, do you want something that's more well balanced in your hand and it's going to glide against the paper and feel really in sync with your body, you're going to go, oh yeah, what have you got? This pen. So you create the curiosity.
Okay.
I will just come in from a screenwriter perspective, and I would say that when you are pitching directly to a producer in Hollywood, they like the logline structure. So if you look at Christopher Lockhart, who is Denzel Washington's agent, he has the entire story of what a logline should be, and it has the different components of it. So he uses that as a diagnostic tool. So any scripts that he sees, he uses the logline to understand, do you know how to create that interest, that tension, and do what you need to do in a logline? So I would say there are some similarities between pitching a business to an investor as pitching a film to a potential producer. but there are slightly different nuances between the two. It all comes down to the story. And when you are pitching a story idea, they still want the same things. Why is it personally important to you? What's inspired to you? What have you personally experienced that you've put into this? Because then if it's got that soul behind it, they're a lot more interested. But it's all about storytelling. All about storytelling. So you might have noticed we've tried to group pictures together. So the first batch of pictures were all from international areas and international areas across the world. So we had people there from Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Nigeria, Canada. So quite a big broad mix. We are now going to bring it to a little bit more closer to home. So me and Coral, we're based up in the north of the UK. So we're going to bring in a lot more UK and European pictures now. And over the next few hours, we're going to start in the UK, expand to all of Europe, and then we are going to go straight over to California and have some US and Mexico pictures joining us in the last hour. As always, this is a marathon, not a sprint. If anyone wants to just be part for their pitches and then leave afterwards, we are recording all of these sessions, and you will be able to see, review, and watch everything afterwards. Phil Meakins, you are the next person on the list. Are you there, Phil?
I had a sneaky feeling I'll be first. Am I
No
ready?
pressure. No pressure. Tell us when you're ready. Have you got the timer?
The timer will be beginning momentarily.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. £10,000 per second. That's how much was lost to scams and fraud worldwide. That's almost £1 million lost in the next 90 seconds. I'm Phil. I am the founder of Just Ask Willow. That person there. We help everyday people spot and avoid scams before they happen. The platform was developed through scammers targeting my daughter, who is a vulnerable adult with learning difficulties. And me, I've been in technology for 30 years, and I built the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine trial. And I moved on to a new product. I've completely lost my thread, apologize. I built an engine that drives technology behind the scenes, and that technology also creates broader commercial opportunities across enterprise, knowledge, and support. The research, a research collaborator has processed well. Yeah.
You've got 20 seconds.
It's going out. It's not me.
I think it's something, because on my screen it says like a mute thing, and I don't think that was Phil. So I don't know if I can change that.
Okay, don't press any buttons then, please. We'll blame Coral. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay.
No worries, Phil. Just a heads up that the mic is still cutting in and out a bit. Keep going. We're all listening.
Thank you. It's to me. Only happens to me. But there you go. Anyway, so where I was I'm a startup founder supported by an experienced advisory board spanning technology, AI, and business. I am looking at investment right now, helping me to deliver the commercial capability, turning the technical validation into enterprise partnerships, and help me to expand the Willow consumer subscription model. And I'll leave you with, if it doesn't look right, don't take a risk. Just ask Willow.
I am going to hold my comments to the end because I've heard you pitch a few times, and actually I've seen a few things you've changed in your pitch, and I'll bring those in a minute. But I'd love to throw it over to either Coral or Kenneth just to put your feedback in first before I go into that.
I'm happy to jump in here. I think really, really well done. It's refreshing to see. Again, you can tell the iterations that the pitch has gone through by the way in which you're able to kind of talk through it with a certain level of confidence. And the traction that you have obviously kind of speaks to that. I love that you've got a vested interest in the company. I think it's probably one of the kind of key features of kind of growing a company is being able to actually, this comes from a personal story, and you're kind of building it for yourself, for your daughter, but then everyone else can be affected with a very, very catchy kind of tagline. So the marketing element, the marketing side of me is very, very happy. Where I'd say, if any feedback at all, really and truly, is yeah, I think it's the future state. I think you had me hooked at the very beginning of the idea of, you know, in the next 30 seconds there's going to be £1 million lost, and I was like, this is fantastic, this is great. I'd love to hear more of the other side of the enterprise partnerships. The enterprise partnership is the kind of like short-term, mid-term goal. Yes, it's a long kind of process to get them, but once that happens, what does that unlock? What is it? How are we getting back to zero? And we're saying actually we're not losing millions anymore. We're losing zero, or we're losing 90% less. So that's one thing that I would love to see. But no, really well done.
Thank you.
I've seen you actually pitch as well. I think your pitch is better today. I think you've done a lot of things. You took a lot of feedback from the practice pitching event, and I really liked the hook that you started with, which is always good before you introduce yourself. I don't know if you've watched any videos where they say never introduce yourself in the first sentence, always give a hook and get some attention. You also gave the figures, because we were talking about this, giving something that's quite impactful. And then you brought in your own personal story on why you were doing it. So we talked about the storytelling, why this is important to you, and some nice credibility and nice bit personal touch with it as well in it. I know we had the problems with the tech, a little bit of nerves kicked in, a little bit more nervous probably that because it's a big pitching event, this to our little small practice pitching event. So probably a little bit less, a bit more pressure on you today, waiting, because you're waiting for your turn to pitch, which is always harder. I really just think it's great. What you're doing is great. And I like the tagline. So I think that's the first time I've heard you use the tagline as well in terms of that complete like story. It's like a mini storytelling.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So well done. Christopher, interested to hear what you think, if you agree.
So I just made a couple of comments. So I've heard you pitch quite a few times, and I know a lot about your background anyway. And the first thing I loved was the fact that you were very vulnerable and honest with the story that you brought in there. I think that brought in raw emotion. It showed Phil as a person as to why you are doing this. And I think I know the story, but when you've been pitching, I think you've been a little bit protected over what you've actually shared. So I love the fact that you brought in what happened with your daughter. And so I put story. I think the way you've presented the story is fantastic. Credibility. Your work with AstraZeneca, obviously that was a massive, big undertaking of what you were involved in, and that just shows your credibility. And the third thing, great catchphrase. So I personally think that was the best pitch I've heard you do to date, Phil.
Cool, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I lost the nerves halfway through. I literally read the wrong word and it just completely threw me. So, but no, thanks for the feedback. No, I appreciate it. We'll get there.
Just as a quick on that, it wasn't noticed. I think that's probably one of the biggest things when you rehearse something for so long, in your head it's supposed to be perfect. Yeah. Very natural. So yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
I have noticed we've had a lot of people joining because we've gone into our second pitching window, the 5 till 6 UK time pitching window. So I'm just going to give a recap of who we are, what we're doing, why are there all these crazy people talking and pitching right now. If you're a pitcher, you are here, you probably know the time slot or rough time that you are pitching over the next 3 hours. If you aren't pitching, you are more than welcome here. If you have feedback, comments, if you want to share your contact details, share what you're working on, please do so in the chat. If you like what a pitcher is saying, please make sure you're connecting with them. Couple of ground rules, which we have said right at the start of the session. When someone is pitching, please make sure your microphone is off and don't use the emojis and chat while someone is pitching. The moment their 90 seconds is up, please put things in the chat. Use the emojis. Thank you, Lewis. And let's make it as supportive as possible, because some of the people in the room, this is the first time that they have ever pitched in their lives. And we want to make sure that this is a supportive community of founders, investors, the broader community of everyone who's in the room today, helping each other and supporting people. So the next person on the list is Lynn. Lynn, are you there and are you ready to pitch?
I'm here and no, but there you go.
I'll throw it over to you when you're ready. Good luck.
I know. Well, I'll do it because I'm here, but please forgive me. Right. Hang on. Okay. The Samaritans answer a call for help every 10 seconds, and the National Domestic Abuse Helpline receives a call for support every 2 minutes. However, there's a big gap between something feels off, what should I do, and I need urgent help now. That gap's what we're aiming to fill. We're not counselling, therapy, or crisis intervention. We're the step before that, enabling people to determine whether they need professional support, workplace action, or simply a clearer plan. Whether through a workplace online platform where employees get anonymised insight into emerging issues and employees get a confidential place to work out their what to do next, reducing presenteeism dramatically, or through a library of digital guides covering several life issue topics such as recognising abuse for men and other for LGBT, bullying and more. These guides can be accessed through the platform, but also licensed separately by councils, police forces, charities, etc., introducing early intervention resources to their current offering. So this is an opportunity to create a digital front door to early intervention, helping people find a place sooner to reach before they reach crisis, while complementing the professional services that support them when they do. I'm Lynn Munro, Clarity Before Crisis.
Fantastic, Lynn. You had plenty of time left over there, and I would actually say, similar to Phil, that's your best pitch so far. It's just amazing. Every single time I'm hearing people pitching, you are coming across more confident, you're getting out there. And I know on Thursday, that was the first time you've ever pitched. And the fact that this is now the second time you've ever pitched, I can already see the leaps and bounds and the confidence that you had in doing what you were doing. Even though you said you weren't confident, I could see this is now starting to feel a little bit more natural to you in the way you're coming across. Well, it is to me. It might not feel that way to you, but it is to me. No, fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm going to agree. I really love the fact that you actually had feedback and you've responded with it. You've changed and you've adapted it, because I remember when you ran out of time because you got so much information that you wanted to bring in. It was short, it was concise, and I think you probably shortened a bit where you could have gave a little bit more at the end. And I could see that you've polished it, you've took all those on board, and then you can expand it a little bit with what your ask is at the end. What I like about yours is it shows the problem, it shows what you're trying to do, your solution, but you also are showing the scalability itself of how this can be expanded, what you can do with this if you had the resources or you had it's showing me sustainability, how the scope for this, where you can go with this. This can be a national thing. It's not going to just be confined to one area. So I really liked it. And I on it, like Chris, I think for your second pitch, you've just taken things on board, and the more practice you get, you'll be a third one, who knows. Well, look out for Lynn Munro, because that was really good. A lot more confidence.
However, you'd laugh because I've been timing and I've been cutting it, and I've got to a minute 10 or something, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm still over. I wasn't registering that minute 10 wasn't 90 seconds.
No, but well done, really well done. Love what you're doing. I don't know if Kenneth wants to add anything else.
Yeah,
so 4 hours.
It's all good. But mine's a really interesting one. So my internet has been cutting out just a little bit just while during the pitch, and it was still crystal clear, which kind of goes to show how well it was packaged. A huge fan of the name. I think that's something that really, I just love the kind of names that kind of speak to you kind of really, really clearly. What I really enjoyed about your pitch, which we haven't seen so much in others, and maybe this is a point to kind of share with others, is the sharing of what you're not. You kind of did like this pre-qualification of the fact that it's not therapy, you're not kind of Samaritans, like you are the pre-qualification process. I think there's something really magical in being able to share with people, actually, here are all the things that we don't touch. We have no interest in doing this. We are laser focused on this one thing. So really, really great. What I would have loved to hear more from, and this may have been my internet drop off, so forgive me if it is, but it's essentially kind of like what your why you personally have kind of decided to build and grow and scale this business. Apologies if it was mentioned, it just kind of dropped off a couple of times, so I may have missed it. But all in all, really well done.
It was in there, and I took it out because I was trying to condense it, and I realised I still didn't have time. But my son's a domestic abuse advisor, and it's with him that we're helping to do all this sort of stuff to ease pressure on the services, really.
Perfect. Well, I think whatever the way you cut it down is fantastic. Two small, very, very, very quick pieces of advice. Number one, the personal story is going to be the thing that people keep and hold after the pitch. And I guess the second thing is whenever you're cutting things down, adrenaline. If you time it in practice to 1:30, adrenaline will speed it up and it'll be 1:15. There is zero cases in which it's been the other way around. People speed up when they're nervous or they're excited. So yeah, aim sort of maybe 10 seconds less, then you're always going to be fine.
I absolutely agree. I think the personal side of it, even though you cut it right down to 1:10, those additional 20 seconds, just bringing a bit more of the personal narrative in there would make that a lot more rounded in what you were saying. So actually, if you look at what Phil did, if you incorporate something similar to how Phil brought the personal story in, I think that would be a perfectly rounded pitch for where you are right now, Lynn. We are 1 hour 15 in, and before we go on to our next pitcher, who is Jack Slater, we are just going to share a little bit of insight into what is happening in the UK right now in terms of where the angel investors are investing, where they are. And this has been kindly put together and given to us by Fhunded Angels, who are supporting the VC26 competition. So one of my close friends, Rory Southworth, he's the head of Fhunded Angels. What he does is he supports rural areas which are outside of London getting better access to investors and to capital. So his pilot project, and this is where it's a little bit selfish. So Jack, I know you're in Lancashire, so this is a service that you absolutely can benefit from. Anyone who's in the Lancashire area, I would definitely recommend coming along to one of the Fhunded events. But there are different opportunities opening up in many different areas across the UK. So I would personally recommend looking into, if you don't live inside London, look into the offerings and the different angel investment networks are out there. But I'll stop talking and I will share a little bit about Fhunded Angels and what they are doing in the UK for the angel investors, founders, and everyone else in between.
Fhunded is Lancashire County Council's early stage equity investment programme. Its primary activity is facilitating meetings between Lancashire startups looking for funding and VC investors seeking new opportunities in the county. This is complemented by the Fhunded Angels Initiative, a cohort of 30+ private investors looking to back new Lancashire ventures seeking seed finance. We work with investors, founders, intermediaries, and local authorities. VCs and institutional investors can talk to Fhunded about taking part in its programme of in-person events. If you're a Lancashire founder seeking VC investment, you can register to attend a Meet a Funder event via the Fhunded website. The Fhunded team welcomes conversations with professional service providers active within the equity finance space. Lancashire County Council welcomes inquiries from other local authorities interested in how the Fhunded model might support their own economic development objectives. Fhunded was launched in 2023 to address a lack of access to early stage equity finance. Between 2022 and 23, London accounted for 49% of the UK's overall VC investment deal count and 63% of its total investment value. In 2022 to 23, the Northwest's number of VC deals declined by 31%, while its average equity deal value dropped by a staggering 67%. The British Business Bank's 2024 tracker asserted that one of the key factors contributing to a regional disparity in the early stage deal flow was the proximity of businesses to equity investors. Fhunded's activity is therefore centred on hosting engaging and inclusive events which bring Lancashire founders face to face with external investors. As well as in-person networking, the Fhunded community also stays connected digitally via Lancashire's deal room website, lancashire.dealroom.co. Fhunded has brought over 20 individual VC funds to Lancashire to meet hundreds of early-stage founders from across the county. This has resulted in 29 million of new investment into Lancashire businesses, 15 million of which can be directly attributed to Fhunded introductions. Fhunded plays a central role in Lancashire County Council's overarching economic growth strategy, and each £1 invested into the Fhunded programme contributes to £45 in economic value. Brendan Cornthwaite, founder of Universal Atmosphere Processing, says Fhunded has brought UAP to the attention of several major VCs in a short space of time, something we would have really struggled to achieve under our own steam. The Fhunded team are as entrepreneurial as the communities they work with and are always open to fresh ideas and new opportunities. Email info@fhunded.co.uk or visit our website to explore opportunities.
I think the most interesting thing there is the fact that they're talking about proximity to investment being a direct correlation between where investments are going. And fun fact, if you ever visit San Francisco and visit a small little park called South Park, going for lunch there or having coffee there, you're more likely to speak to an investor who has invested in the multi-billion to trillion industries than anywhere else in the world. So if you are going on holiday to San Francisco, visit South Park, grab a coffee. You'll never know who you could be speaking with and who could potentially invest in your business. But yeah, like Rory said, this is a fantastic initiative. If you are based in Lancashire, I appreciate that many of you are from all around the world. If you are in Lancashire, then check out Fhunded. If you're outside of Lancashire, look for your local angel investment networks. If you're outside of the UK, there are many resources out there, and we will be bringing more resources from different geographical hubs into the conversation as we go on. So in the last hour, we'll be talking a little bit more about the US and further overseas type of support that is available. Jack Slater, are you ready for your pitch? Begin when you're ready.
3 weeks ago, a friend of mine turned down dinner with his own family. He wasn't busy. He just didn't trust the menu not to wreck 2 months of hard training. He chose loneliness over that risk. And it's not just him. That's every serious lifter I know, carrying meal prep chicken and rice into restaurants, skipping a takeaway with friends, and staying quiet at the buffet. It's just not sustainable. And that's why most people quit. Fitness is supposed to build confidence. And for a lot of people, it's quietly taking their freedom away. That's why I built Orete, the navigation app for lifters. Open the app, and before you order, not after, you'll see the lowest calorie, highest protein, and best all-round option, whether that's your local cafe or even a Domino's. The same map finds your gym, your training events, and even the best macro-friendly meal deal to grab on the go. One app instead of the 4 most lifters are already juggling. I'm Jack. I'm 19, and this is my second business. My first taught me how to build, and this one's teaching me how to listen. Real user interviews, a real gym partnership, refining before I rush anything out the door. The waitlist is live right now. I'm not asking you to trust an idea. I'm asking you to help me build what every lifter's been missing. Thank you.
Amazing, Jack. You had 10 seconds left to spare at the end there as well. So fantastic. I'll hold my comments back because I've heard your pitch a few times. So I'll let other people put in first.
I'm going to let Kenneth do his first also, because I've also heard Jack on Thursday.
Sure. It's a pleasure to be able to hear these for the first time because I don't have any reference point. Really great pitch. Really love the kind of mission behind it. And I really like the journey that you took us on by way of why it exists and what that kind of looks like by way of, the kind of interpersonal relationships. I would have loved to see more explored in terms of the cost of you not existing. As this is your second business, I think there's a really big thing in terms of being able to get someone to understand actually if this doesn't exist now, or the why now behind it, essentially, what happens. And I think you touched on it in the middle there, where you said something along the lines of instead of using 4 apps. I think there is a big cost in waitlisters spending time trying to find new apps and them spending trying to meal prep without having much success. everyone enjoys a takeaway. If the money's there, why not? Let's do it. So I think there is definitely like a time element of cost, but sort of investing into different apps and getting no results and then failing. This idea of consolidation, I think, is fantastic. So yeah, I think all in all, very small tweak that you could make, but would unlock a lot more by way of what scaling looks like without even saying it.
Thank you.
I love that, Jack. I really loved it. I heard you on Thursday, and what I really like is you've taken on board some of the advice and tips about using your voice, and you were very controlled when you were speaking. So when you on Thursday, you were very, very fast, and all your words kind of blended into one. And I said, use those pauses, use that effect. Silence is really powerful, and you did it. You showed the personal story, you showed the problem, the solution, and your timing of doing your pitch in the 90 seconds. So I really enjoyed that. And I think if you're going to keep getting better after people give you this great advice like Kenneth and Chris and other people when you're pitching, you're going to just have the best pitch ever. And once we get you on camera also, that got the nerves I couldn't feel the nerves like I did the first time. And I think you've just polished that up really nicely. So congratulations, well done. Always great to see someone improve, and that was great. Great pitch.
Thanks, Coral.
Over to you, Chris.
I just love seeing how you've evolved over the last few weeks and the level of confidence, and especially for your age, the way that you've been able to start bringing the story in. You've started really putting your heart into there. I already made quite a lot of comments on Thursday about how you've shown like the vulnerability of it being your second business, the traction, the journey you've had as a founder at such a young age already. The intro was better. It hooked me a lot better than the one you did on Thursday. Again, this probably is the best pitch I've heard you do so far. How did you find it went?
Good. I think there was a lot more nervousness in myself with obviously the sort of build up, whereas last time it was sort of like more of like an informal pitch. So I think my nerves were a bit higher, but I think actually once I got about halfway through, it sort of flowed and felt a lot more natural. Adding all the pauses as well helped quite a bit, because I know, as you said, I think on Thursday, because obviously the first time I ever did it, I wasn't too sure when to pause. I've realised that it creates a lot of impact after pausing, because it sort of grabs the listener's attention a lot more as well. Thank you, Jack.
Musa, are you still in? Because we've managed to catch up with ourselves. So if you're available now, would you like to do your pitch now if you can?
Imagine a young mother who has the ability to work, but no marketable skills, no startup capitals, and reliable source of income. This is the reality face many women in underdeserved communities in Sierra Leone. Through Means SL, we have seen that training alone is not enough. Women need pathway for skills and income. That is why we are developing the Mama Educate community bakery for empowerment in Bauma Station. Our mode combines a commercial bakery with practical skills development. We will produce and sell bread, cake, and snacks to household shops and businesses and events. Train vulnerable young mothers with bakery and food preparation and entrepreneurship business management. Our initiative goal is to train 15 women annually with practical experience and startup support so that they graduate, secure employment, and establish their own small businesses. Our vision is to prove the mode in Bauma, make it profitable, eventually replicate it in other communities.
Musa, you just ran out of time, but a fantastic story into there. That I don't think I've heard you do such a well-refined short pitch like that before, because I think you brought in quite a lot of elements about the empowerment side of what you're doing. I'd really like that positioning. Again, a little bit too long because you did go over the time, but I think you've got some the way that you're presenting it has come across really well for that pitch, Musa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is my first time ever to do pitching. I have never done it before.
Amazing first attempt. Absolutely amazing first attempt, Musa.
Thank you.
I just want to give some feedback as well, Musa. I just thought that was amazing because I know that there's so much that you're doing within the community. So I personally know about your projects and how you're helping single young women who've just had babies and they've got no homes and the babies. And I know that there's a lot more within the project that you're working in, and the bakery is another thing that you're doing. So I think what you've done today is you've brought it together with the bakery, how you're trying to solve this problem, how you're making these women self-sufficient, and the education, and how this can actually be something that is sustainable, but also you can help impact not just the women but their families, and how they then can get an income. I really love the fact you put that in 90 seconds. I think you can condense it even more, but because that is your first one, I think you'll grow with the more impact, the more advice, the more feedback you get to put into it. But I really enjoy what you did with that. I thought that was really great. And I'd love to hear what Kenneth has to say also.
I think for your first time pitching, it doesn't come across at all, which is fantastic. It's really, really great. So please do not let this be the last iteration of you pitching. More of it would be great. I really love the element of impact. I love the fact that actually you're looking at a problem that is widespread, but you're also attacking it from a place that is very much centered and grounded. And you've got metrics that I'd actually love for you to expand even more, by way of, you talked about how we can looking to help 15 women per annum, and then going on to have their own businesses. And the note that I put there, really by way of like small improvement, was making the problem more so clear, in terms of, we talked really broadly about skills, and then we went into bakeries and then back up to businesses. I would love to kind of understand at the very beginning, this many women aren't able to start their own businesses, and you are basically inverting that number. You're working with them to basically unlock opportunities. And that, by way of kind of condensing it down, allows you to say a lot more in very little time, and gives you more space to talk about all the other wonderful things that you're doing. Because Cole brought it home for me. The question that I had this whole time was, what the 50 women that you're working with, why specifically baking? What is baking got to do with what you're doing? But actually doing lots more in the background. So we just need to help other people understand that quickly, succinctly, and you're doing a great job. It's just that last little 10% tweak that will get you there.
Amazing. I'd just add on to that, Kenneth.
Thank you.
I think the next part, adding on to that, would be, I'd love to know a little bit more about the long-term vision. So I think what Kenneth said about you being able to zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, and then tell that story narrative that way was fantastic. But it kind of left me wanting a little bit more. Like, how big is this going to get? Do you want to take this international? Do you want this to, like, I'd love to kind of hear what your audacious, bold vision is for where you'd like to take it to. So maybe that would be a good way to conclude that pitch. I'll put that in the chat. Coral, did you have anything to add before we go into our next picture? Coral, you're on mute.
I was just going to say, Musa, what would be your ask if you had an ask for today? What would you be wanting for your bakery? What are you needing right now?
What I need right now is funds to start. Maybe buy the equipment for the bakery, because the building is up now. We have been working on it locally. Yeah, it's up now, so is the equipment, and also some technical support in terms of how we can run the business successfully to make the profit and reinvest it back into the education of young mothers and elderly people in our community.
Excellent. Thank you, Musa.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to say a really quick one, and maybe this is one for us all. Whenever you're asking for funding, whether it's $5 or 5 million, I always say the number, or at least a range, because you never know who's in the room or who's going to watch the recording that might just get in touch with you and say, do you know what? Yeah, we can fund that. We can back that. don't be shy to ask for exactly what you want, because 9 times out of 10, someone will give it to you.
And if they aren't the ones to give it to you, they may know the person that can.
Can I just add on to that as well? People, sorry, people can take you places that money can't, on all your skills. So it's always worth shouting about it.
Yeah. You keep bringing in these really wise words, Lewis. Thank you. Okay, so just a reminder, I keep forgetting to say this, but if you've not done so already and you want to connect, you want to share your contact details, please do so in the chat. Musa, if you want to share any contact details, any LinkedIn details, anything like that, please do so. It's an open community, connect with people. And Mandy or Amanda, what do you prefer? Do you prefer Mandy or Amanda?
She's fine, thank you.
Mandy, amazing.
Yeah.
You are up next. So
thank you. I don't normally, I'm on nights tonight, so I wanted to get ready before the pitch and then I can sort everything out and head off. So I'm not just dressing up for the occasion.
No, it's an absolute pleasure because I know you had some timing. So I'm very grateful that you were able to join us today. I'll just get the clock set up and then please go ahead when you're ready to start.
Thank you. It's my first pitch. So, hi everyone. My name's Mandy, and for the past 23 years, I've worked as a paramedic for the NHS. 3 years ago, I picked my daughter up from school after a sports event, and she was quite smelly. We went to town to find her a deodorant, and I could not find anything that I felt safe to put on young, delicate skin. We looked in chemists, we looked in supermarkets, and we just couldn't find anything. And that's where my light bulb idea came from. 3 years in the making, and we launched Blossom and Bow, our natural, vegan-friendly, dermatologically tested deodorant about 8 months ago. We're already winning awards. We've won the Vegan Choice Awards, and we've been shortlisted with the Junior Magazine Awards as well. We're waiting to hear those results. We are looking really for some exposure, some more followers, and when we get more sales, we'll be able to launch our next 2 products, which are waiting to go, and they are Cosmic Chick and Sassy Stars. We've also just launched an amazing body mist to go with Dazzling Diva, and so far it's been great.
Amazing. And breathe. You have 10 seconds left. Amazing first pitch. Amazing first pitch. I love the story. I love how you just went straight into it. Your heart was there. You started telling the story. I love that you had some products to start showing. It made me lean in. I want to know more. It's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is a personal pain that you've turned into something. Okay. And I'd love to learn a bit more about your aspirations. Do you want to take this global again? Like, how far do you want to take it? What's the big vision? But no, fantastic first attempt of a pitch. Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you. I'm shaking.
I have to give feedback, really good feedback as well. I love the fact your daughter's with you, and you've shown that it is a family thing. You talked about smelly armpits. And I think most teenagers would cringe that my mum's saying, oh, you smell. So I love the story. So that got me straight away. Having physical products is really great, because sometimes when people ask for funding or support, they've not actually got a physical product. I know myself, I'm building something, I don't have the product, and that can be a barrier to actually getting funding. But you've got the products, you've got the awards, you're now onto your next product. And what I liked about you, you didn't actually, it wasn't an ask. You were actually saying, once we sell more products, we're going to move on to our next products, which was showing me that you are a businesswoman and you are building a brand and you're doing very successfully at it. That was a really good pitch. I'd probably be thinking, if I'd got my checkbook, that would be quite a nice thing to invest in, actually.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Sorry to the other gang now coming in.
That's what made it very special, very human and relatable. And I'll probably remember, that's one of the ones I remember about the smelly armpits, because it's so hot. I'm sweating so much and I'm thinking, where's the deodorant? And I think a lot of people could relate to that. That's a really nice human approach. So well done. And your first pitch, phenomenal.
Thank you. That's great feedback. Thank you so much.
I'll jump in really quickly. Firstly, really appreciate the fact you're doing nights in 30-something degree heat, sleeping during the day, and then the work you're doing on top. You're an absolute hero. So no, thank you so much. By way of feedback, I think you really did really well in being able to kind of showcase the potential without doing too much, by obviously showcasing the product, showcasing how it started from one and going to more. The awards, I think, are really, really great credibility point. What I would have loved to see a little bit more is you talked about, obviously, that process of, going from sports day, trying to find lots of things in the market, and then ending up kind of fixing it for yourself. And I think, as someone who's kind of moved from kind of metallic deodorants to natural deodorants, that process is a pain. I would love to see that kind of widened out. So it's like, this is what affected me and my daughter, but actually there was 100 more people, 1,000 more people that are going through the same thing. The product obviously clearly has traction because you've not just built one, you've tested, you've gone through all the different stages of kind of getting it approved, and you've done more, and that's not easy at all. So yeah, we'll just expand on that just a little bit, just to say, this is what it looks like to a wider audience. And the last thing I had was more of a question rather than feedback. Was you mentioned that you'd need a certain amount of sales to be able to kind of start the next range, and you're looking for exposure. I'm assuming exposure then brings you sales, and the sales then brings you the range. So basically, how much exposure do you need, or how much sales do you need? Because if you have a specific ask, then we can give a specific answer.
Yeah, definitely. So we are on all the social media platforms. We've got followers, which are great. We're trying our hardest to promote our product and get everyone to see it. It's really, really hard, that side of things. Alongside that, we also do the local shows, fairs, and we've got an amazing stand. So we can, in the community, we can sell our product, which has been really successful as well. So that gives us some great income as well. But we really want to launch the next two, which are ready to go. This one's Cosmic Chick, and it smells amazing. And then Sassy Stars is waiting. But we just need the money now. We've put everything we can into Dazzling Diva, and we don't want to be just Dazzling Diva. We want to be a range, really.
Yeah. And what's the specific ask there by way of the funding that you need?
So, I mean, with good exposure, we could probably get the funds in. But yeah, we are looking for a little bit of investment probably along the way now. We don't know where else to go in terms of expansion now. And because we're so new to this, I don't know anything about business. So this is your field, not mine, really. So
no, well, the more happy to have a chat. But yeah, no, really well done. Really, really well. Thanks for taking us through it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Amazing. And if you can share the socials, any websites, any links into the chat, please put them in, and we can all give them some follows, some likes, and show some love in getting you out there and get you visible.
Thank you. That's what we want, some more visibility, more sales, and then we can get going.
And congratulations again. Fantastic first pitch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
As always, please drop your name details in the chat, and we'll move on to our next person. George Knight, you will be next on the list if you are available. Okay. Let's go on to George.
I
Okay,
was going to say, I thought she was in the room, but it might be an internet thing. So
no problem.
Yeah.
So if anybody does have connection issues and they do miss the thing, please just come back. We will try and fit you in. So this is live. Things go wrong. Connection issues happen. But George, are you ready?
I am. All right. At 18, I almost died. Now I'm building the future of community recovery and human performance. Hi, I'm George Knight, and I'm the founder of Refi. At 18 years old, I underwent a 2-stage spinal fusion for my scoliosis. Following some medical complications I had in hospital, I ended up losing 25 kilograms in weight and going down to 5.5 stone. This experience completely changed my perspective on life and made me view health and recovery in a completely different way. I realized that recovery is completely broken. And there's so many wellness brands out there that just sell you a product, but don't really give you any real guidance, accountability, or community to actually help you build those better habits. So I wanted to build something that puts all of that together. I'm building a community-first wellness brand that sells recovery products and services, such as cold plunges. And what really makes me different is the product, community, and purpose that come alongside it. My brand is built from my own lived experience. So for each cold plunge or recovery product that I sell, I donate a wellbeing box back to someone recovering in hospital. So far, we've exhibited Ideas Fest, Car Fest, and had over 250 people exhibit Revive Live. I've won multiple awards and accelerators, such as East of England's Health and Wellbeing Startup of the Year last year, and this year Consumer Product of the Year. And I am also backed by Simon Scribb. The long-term vision is to make Revive a global go-to recovery brand. Ultimately, later down the line, also creating in-person recovery and fitness spaces where people can go to recover, connect, and become the best version of themselves. I'm not just selling recovery products. I'm building a movement around becoming stronger, and both physically and mentally. SEIS approved, looking to raise 80k to accelerate the next stage of growth, allowing us to get more recovery products in, invest in inventory and customer acquisition, expand our partnerships, and turn Revive into a global recovery and community wellness brand. Thank you.
Amazing, George. You did go over.
Sorry.
And the only reason I didn't mute your mic was you were answering the question I was going to ask you straight away, which was, what do you need next? So some of the things I loved in there, but I've heard your pitch quite a few times, and I think the thing that always gets me is the fact that you are showing like your journey. You're turning the adversity you've experienced into an opportunity, which I think is absolutely amazing. I know you've been through some very difficult times, but what you pitched in there about the giving back aspect, the well-being boxes, is absolutely fantastic. Any business that pledges and puts into giving back gets a gold star, in my opinion. So that is absolutely fantastic. You talked about the traction, you talked about the awards you're involved in, the momentum that you've actually had. Again, absolutely fantastic. I would say for the 90-second pitch, you want to just shorten a little bit on the story, just so you can get the ask in a little bit quicker at the end. But when the ask came about, because that would have been my next question, what do you need now? And you had that very clear. You had the 80k, the SEIS. A pitch is to get that initial conversation. You pull the heartstrings, you explain the traction, you showed that you weren't just building a business to make money, that you actually wanted to make the world a better place, which was amazing. And then you went into there. As an investor, my next questions would be going into what exactly you're going to use the 80k for, how is this going to help you expand, what's your long-term vision, and take it from there. So, well done. Amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, then, Kenneth.
George, do you want to jump in?
No, I'll let you first, Kenneth. You first.
George, really, really well done. Businesses that are built from the heart are the ones that kind of are built for the future, in my opinion. I think you did really well in 90 seconds to really cover so much of the business, from awards to traction to investors, and really kind of building that credibility piece, as well as kind of like your kind of vested interest. What I would have liked to see a little bit more from, and these are very quick stats that you can do within 10 seconds, is offsetting essentially doubt. So one of the things when people mention community is the first thought most people have is how many people are in it and how long is it going to go for, because most communities die out within their first sort of year, 2 years. And I think you can very quickly get over that by just sharing with people, this is how long we've been going for, these are how many members we have, and the kind of the increasing numbers. But outside of that, it's real. There's a real sense of like ambition, and nothing's going to stop you. So please never lose that flame of fire. And yeah, the 80K I think it's a small ask by way of what you're about to unlock. So go to investors with that same confidence and say, look, we're going to do this with or without you. So do you want to back it or not? Simon can cover it all. Don't worry, Simon can cover it all. Pass over to Coral.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love your pitch. If you're going to do any more pitching, if you need to do any more pitching, it looks like you've got a lot of people on your side, love what you do. They can see this experience. They know this is from the heart. You've gone through some quite traumatic experience with the operations. I'm always about accessibility and disability. So this is a kind of thing that would really come close to me. What I think I would like is a little bit more, I think what Kenneth said to, I don't know if it was Lynn, about how many people like you, because this is your lived experience, how many other people like you that this is impacting on, and how this is affecting as a wider issue, because I think what you're doing is amazing, and we can see that this is you, this is what's happened to you, but also what you're doing, it has a positive impact on other people. And your age, it's just amazing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Shorten your pitch. If you need to pitch to someone else, get your 90 seconds, condense it a bit. You do show us a lot of information that you could maybe shorten down. I mean, you've got the award, you've got this, and this. You can probably shorten it down. That, I mean, you have won a lot of awards, and you have got Simon Scribb, and I think that would be impressive just to say those two things together in the same sentence, and what you're doing and the impact on other people. But really well done, really well done. It is so impressive at your age what you're doing. I'm quite in awe of what you're doing, and you should be so proud of what you've achieved so far. It's just really commendable. You've taken where there's been pain, and this is an expression I use a lot, where you've taken pain, you've actually put it to purpose. Pain, purpose, and this is what the result is of you suffering what you've suffered, and that is really, really something. So well done.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Dying to see where you go next with that, honestly, George.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
And like you say, Kenneth, Simon Scribb could probably do that, no problem. It's only a small ask, really, isn't it, at the end of the day?
A couple of quid from his pocket, it'd be fine.
It's true.
In the grand scheme of investing, yeah, absolutely, it's a splash in the pond.
We'll be moving on to Anthony Silver, who I definitely can see in the chat if you are available and ready to pitch, Anthony.
Yes, I'm available to pitch. Do you want me to start?
Amazing. So I'll just put your name in the chat. I will reset the timer, and then away we go.
Okay, the global sports performance analytics market is worth over $30 billion. And every one of those dollars is spent on physical metrics. But the difference between a winner and an also-ran isn't physical, it's psychological, namely what's going on inside their heads. Coaches see behavior, the mask, never the wiring. But without the wiring, every scholarship is a gamble. Athlete recognition transforms that gamble into a calculated risk. With it, they recruit smarter, they coach to the individual, intervene before problems actually surface. We take 6 webcam photos, takes 30 seconds, no questions asked, but a lot of questions answered. Our foundation layer is peer-reviewed in Nature Scientific Reports, converts 6 images into 195 psychometric values mapped against 5 gold standard personality models. On top, 6 interpretation engines, tunable to absolutely any vertical. For coaches, they get coachability, stress response, decision-making, team dynamic fit delivered instantly. Free NAPDA Division 1 trial. We're a SaaS per athlete per season. I'm Anthony, the founder, and I'm looking for US market intros and maybe seed stage conversations. Thank you.
The first thing, perfect timing there. Absolutely spot on in the timing. Okay, so I would say you dived into a lot of details there. And there's this whole thing around selling the dream outcome rather than diving into the details. I liked what you were putting on the table. I liked the innovative side of it. I loved the fact that you talked about the gap and where that missing layer is. But I think if you'd changed it slightly to say what this means for me or what this means for your target audience a little bit more, I think that's what would have hooked me a little bit further. But overall, I like the general content of what you want to build. I think the bit that there's a massive opportunity just to sell the story a bit more. So it's the sell the sizzle, not the steak kind of thing. But overall, I think the structure was very well done in terms of the content. But if you flipped it a little bit more into the benefits, not just the specific features of the build out, I think that it might have flowed a little bit more onto the story side, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
I totally agree with Chris. I think before kind of shooting, I would love to know, just in a couple of sentences, why is it that you started the business?
Basically to make money.
And outside of that, is there any other kind of motivation?
Well, yeah, sure. We actually do this for corporate. So we're selling this as a corporate product. We're now setting our sights on the US college market, which is huge, absolutely huge, college sports. And because I'm a fencer, I fence, the difference has always been what's going on in your head at the right time, at the right moment. This helps coaches understand exactly that without the behavioral mask. So we're filling a huge gap in terms of data that coaches could use to optimize their people's performance.
It's very interesting because my feedback was all around, much like Chris said, story. The sentences you've just said about your own personal investment in terms of being a fencer, the mentality that you have and how it is that that's managed, is exactly what I was missing from the pitch itself. I think what was really great about the pitch is it gave me a really clear business plan. And by way of like a safe investment, it was like, okay, here are the steps for what the investment was going to look like. We spend up to the US and we kind of throw money on ourselves and everything's great, right? But that core element, and it's kind of like this founder credibility, why am I going to back Anthony over somebody else? Is because he's been in the game for a long time. He himself understands the value of it, and he's now expanding that out to more people. So yeah, basically, don't worry about scripts, don't worry about what you've written down. Share the story of why you're doing it, and then the money will come. As you said, rightly said, money will definitely come. But
to be honest with you, I've self-funded it. I put £1 million of my own money in already. I'm less interested in raising money than I am in looking for contacts to help open doors in the US college market. That is far more interest than negotiating with angels. I spent 20 years in banking, so I know a little bit about that world works. I'm looking for intros, not money.
Yeah, sure. I'll pass it over to Coral. But thanks very much.
I totally agree with what you said, Kenneth, about putting that core in, because that core made a big difference to me. What a fantastic position that you're in, Anthony. I could tell that you were very much executive level because you spoke very articulate. I mean, I think it was probably the most articulate pitch that I've heard, that had this very confident, very self-assured, and I didn't get that personal story, and which was what I like to be able to connect with somebody's story. So I wasn't getting that until you just said what you said to Kenneth. But what a great position that you funded it yourself. I'm quite happy to fund something, if subject to how much it's costing me, to actually fund something because I believe in it. And that does show your commitment to an idea, to a product, to a design, and it gives investors quite a lot to look at, or even your connectors, even people that will connect you, because you have got that tenacity to actually go and do it. It's like, I'm going to do this regardless of the money. I believe in this. This is a great product. I want to make money. However, this is something I saw that I knew was necessary, and I did it from my own experience. And I don't know what else to say from that, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because it was very different to some of the pitches that we've heard. But I just needed that core element, and I think put that together.
Yeah, I think my problem is I'm a little old in the tooth, and I'm sort of a bit old school. So I'm used to presenting business plans and all that stuff. What I would say is that if anyone wants to try it on themselves, it's totally free. So you can just go to our website, which is in the chat, and you'll be stunned at how accurate a read it makes of you. Really stunned.
Amazing. I like that old school. That's the kind that was the kind of thing I was thinking when you were speaking. Very methodical, very articulate, and this old school. You said it really. But yeah, I'd love to give it a go and have a try. So really great luck with this. Great luck with it.
Please do. Thank you very much for your time.
Just going on, it was a very professional way you pitched it. And I think the hybrid of getting the story elements of what Kenneth got out of you alongside that professional, you'll have a fantastic pitch.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And please put in again in the chat links to it. I'd love to give it a try. Anyone else who'd like to give it a try, please make sure the link's in there, because it does sound absolutely fantastic.
Well, as I said, we do one for individuals in corporate. So I'll put both of those links in. Just go to the website. There's a call. Go to the website. There's a call to arms button. Just click it, and it just holds your hand, takes you through. And we're going live with athletes beginning of September. The other one's been up and running for about a year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. We have another panelist joining us. Clemens, are you available?
Yes, if you. This is quite tricky. I'm currently leaving my apartment, so give me a second. I will need to switch to mobile service in a second. I did not catch that pitch, so bear with me. I'll be with you in a minute, okay?
Okay, what we'll do, we're going to have a quick 5-minute interim. So somebody who wanted to be here for the session today was unable to make the session. However, they have given a short video and they'll introduce a little bit of what they do, and they're putting some real value on the table here. And I'll let them introduce themselves, and I'll share some links in the chat in a few moments. But I would like to introduce Robert Hokin from Fundraising 101, who will give you a little bit of insight about what he does and some of his top tips from the lens of an investor's side. So take it away, Robert.
Hello, VC26. Greetings from Glasgow. I'm Robert Hokin, Managing Partner at Fundraising 101. Sorry I can't join you live. It's my wedding anniversary. That one's non-negotiable. So I'm coming to you by pre-recorded video today. Wherever you're pitching from, Australia, Europe, US, or UK, I want to give you a few minutes from the other side of the table, some insight. I've spent 30 years as an investor myself, investing in over 60 companies as a corporate VC and in facilitating investment into hundreds more as a corporate finance advisor. Here's what I want you to know as you consider pitching to the funding tribe. Start with this. There are actually two kinds of being ready for a fundraise, and founders often confuse the two. Investment readiness is the backdrop, whether your business is investable, your market, your product, your team, the numbers. Raise readiness is the process, whether and how you can actually run the campaign, whether you can articulate your business model frontwards and backwards in a pitch. And whether your house is in order the moment someone says, send me more. A great business run by an unprepared founder loses to a good business run by a prepared one nearly every time. Good news is this is all learnable, and that's the whole point of what I'm talking to you about today. A first insight, there's now an algorithm sitting between you and every check. I know a fund with 10 staff, writes about 20 checks, does 20 deals a year. They get 3,500 approaches to do it, 3,500. And that's not unique. So they use AI to screen the top fifth. Human never sees the rest. So you founders who scrape a list and blast the same deck to 300 investors, hoping for a 1% open and return rate, aren't being efficient. You're being filtered out automatically. 10 investors who generally fit what you're building will beat 300 who don't. So do the homework on every fund, say why you're writing to them specifically, and stop wasting yours and everyone else's time. Second, stop trying to prove you have no risk. A common mistake I see are early stage founders determined to convince me nothing could go wrong. That does the opposite. If you tell me there's no risk, I decide you either can't see it or you won't tell me. And both are potentially worse than the risk itself. Investors don't back the absence of risk. We back founders who can see the risks clearly, who can articulate them, and have a credible plan of action to reduce them. So name your biggest risk before I do. That builds trust, and trust is what helps get funded. Third, because you usually get a short attention span from investors that do see your pitch, whether live or online, your ask is not a runway number. It's a milestone story. Don't tell me you want 200K for 18 months of runway. I don't care about funding your runway. Help me understand what that money buys, the specific proof points, the deliverables that you'll hit that'll increase your company's value. Now, that's an ask an investor can say yes to. So, know your business code, target the right people, own your risks, sell the milestones. There's a hell of a lot more that I could say about fundraising. I could talk about this all day. I live and breathe this stuff. But if that's a yes from all, for you, if you have that all, that's a great start. If it's a not yet, it's fixable. Everything I've mentioned and more I've written up. I've got a lot of articles free to you at fundraising101.academy/resources. Term sheets, data rooms, valuations, using A as a co-pilot, even more places to pitch. No charge. And to every founder in VC26, I'm offering a free pitch deck check. Send me your deck, and I'll give you an honest, short initial read from my investor's eye. The links are on screen, along with my personal LinkedIn locator. That's it from me. Hope I've given you something useful to chew on. Good luck out there today. Go enjoy it.
Some quite brutal but wise words from Robert. Thank you so much, Robert. I've put the links in the chat, and thank you, Robert, again for offering to do a pitch deck review, and from being able to take your pitch deck and getting the visibility of what an investor would see. I think is an absolutely amazing insight. And he will be honest, he will be critical, but sometimes that is exactly what you need to hear to get ready to pitch and have that confidence to know how to navigate an investor. Clemens has just messaged me. He is having technical issues, so he may not be joining just the panel just yet. Hopefully he'll be able to join us later. We will see. So for now, it is me, Connell, and Kenneth who are still manning the fort. Kenneth, how are you getting on?
Oh, good. And I heard the sun is literally shining on me, so there's no problem. Excited to see some more pitches.
We are over 2 hours. We're more than halfway there. So Bon Jovi, more than halfway there. We're living on a prayer. Amazing. Let me just see where we're on the schedule, Phil. Did you have a question?
Just a comment about the previous video.
We've got time. We've got time, actually. We're ahead of schedule, so we're in a good place.
Yeah.
Go on, Phil.
So the video we just watched, so I met him 2 weeks ago. For anybody that is interested in have those conversations, I would definitely engage with him because he actually gives 45 minutes free conversations. So if you're starting out like I am, he's a very good resource. And he's a bit of a bulldog, but he knows his stuff. So I would definitely engage with him. And I know the LinkedIn profile online, but I would definitely check him out. He's a really good guy.
He's very, very generous with his time. And also, I think it's very important you get people giving you honest feedback so you can improve, you can develop, you can grow. I think it just makes you more resilient. It makes you more professional, and you can adapt and change. But you don't want people saying that's great, but then you're not getting anywhere. You want actually someone to say, this is how you could do that better, or don't do that, try this, try another way. And I think we all need that. So take advantage of the free pitch deck. I might do that myself on something I'm developing just to get some feedback, because it is really valuable. 45 minutes of somebody's time like that, priceless.
It's amazing. Any other questions at the moment? Let's have just a little pause in the proceedings before we go into the next picture. Does anyone have any questions, thoughts, reflections?
Yeah, Chris, I have a question. Yeah, thank you again. So, being that this is my first time to do pitch, I just want to know like how to really start a pitch. What would be like a better intro, really, to give like a clear picture of what you really want to explain or what you want the audience to get from the start.
I am so glad you asked. We have put a cheat sheet together with some of the top tips that we recommend. So I'll just put that in the chat. So one of the things we'd recommend, if you, and this is, Kenneth probably has got his own way of doing this, but the way that I would recommend it is thinking around like who you help by doing what and how you do it. And when you're thinking about pitching, you want to make sure that every single second earns its place. So if you're writing a book or you're in screenwriting, they say read through. If it doesn't add to the story or advance the story in a meaningful way, cut it out. You've got to do the same when you are pitching. You've got to think, is this valuable or am I just cluttering up the pitch? So start with what you really want to get across. Try and get the problem to be as real as possible. So talk about the pain, talk about why it's important, why it actually is hurting people. Is it a parachute problem or a nice to have? A parachute problem is something that urgently needs fixing and people will throw money at it. If you jump out of a plane, you'll pay any amount of money to have a parachute. It's a great way of thinking about business. Give people reasons to why you. Why should I trust you? What's your story? What is it about you that actually makes me want to trust what you're doing? So in Phil's case, he told a very personal story. He's experienced this firsthand. He sold a genuine reason for me to think I would trust Phil with the service he's providing. Explain your solution as simply as possible. So no over complex things. If you're a tech founder and you're pitching a tech business, you might have, and it's the first time pitching, you might have this urge to start throwing loads of AI phrases and agentic AI and LLMs and all these jargon because you think, oh, it will impress an investor. It does the opposite. And it doesn't want to hear the technical jargon. They just want to know the story, the solution in a clear narrative that doesn't confuse them. Fraction. Go on, Kenneth. Go on.
No, you're on a roll. Go.
I'd love to hear your input because you've done this so much, Kenneth. I'd love to hear your input on this as well.
I think absolutely everything Chris said is a million% right. So there's nothing that I could add to it that would do much more than kind of muddy the waters. But to reinforce it, I think really what you want to think about is simple sales. It's you've been building the product for weeks, months, years by yourself. So when it comes to explaining to people, typically it's like, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this. Sometimes it's as simple as we're just solving this one specific problem and we're obsessed with it. So why you, why now? And the most important thing is, what is the cost of it not existing? If you can cover those three bases within 90 seconds, you can do it within 5 minutes, you can do it within 15 minutes. So your goal really is to just get really good at like explaining that in a short way that's compelling. And your story will always come out because when you're explaining the why you, there's your personal story. Why now? Is it legislation? Is it because, what is the parachute moment essentially? What is happening that this needs to happen? And the cost of it not existing. Basically, that's defensibility. Can someone come in, copy and paste what you're doing easily? And if the answer is yes, then it's a parachute problem without the founder conviction behind it. So yeah, simple sales.
And quite interestingly, what investors are doing right now, if they get a pitch deck and it goes through the filter of the 1% that they're putting into consideration, they will send that pitch deck to one of their analysts and give them 48 hours to see if they could copy the entire business model on a service like Lovable. And if they can copy more than 80% of your business within 48 hours, it's a no to investing. which is a scary world we're going into, but that is the brutal truth of where investors are now utilizing AI in their filtering of your businesses.
All right. Thank you so much for
You're very
walking me
welcome,
through.
Musa. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
So I think Clemens has reappeared.
Clemens, hello.
Yes. Hey guys, yeah, my connection is not the best. Doing
Fantastic.
an intro without a camera. If you want to see my face, there are photos online. I'm a real human being, okay?
I will put a link.
Lying.
I love that.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know. Should I say a few words?
Yeah, please introduce yourself and just who you are, what you do. Go ahead, Clemens.
So yeah, my name is Clemens. I work at a company currently still called Helpbank, but you might know the man behind it, whose name is Simon Squibb. So I work with a guy who has grown his following to over 25 million people across his entire socials. He is the guy going to people asking, what's your dream? Very famous line these days. And yeah, at Helpbank, the reason why Chris reached out is at Helpbank, we help people start businesses and we do it completely for free. So my day job, I would say here with Helpbank, is literally helping people start for free, which is ridiculous because no one else does it in this world. We basically do affiliate marketing and that's how we fund the whole operation. Yeah, every week we help hundreds of people start. And we also have a very, very interesting physical device called the Doorbell of Dreams. Maybe some of you have heard of it, where we get thousands of pitches. And yeah, historically, last year, I've seen personally over 1,000 pitches myself. So yeah, if anyone needs any feedback, I'm more on that visual side of pitching because it's a video camera where people go and have 60 seconds to record their dream. And the visual impact of a pitch is what makes it count. But also, I've learned that just keep it simple. I think a lot of people need to learn how to pitch to a 5-year-old. If you manage to go to that level, you will reach everyone. And especially if you're not lucky enough to be the first one to pitch your business, people will just get tired and they won't understand all the buzzwords you're using. So I've seen the people who win, they just make the problem, the pain super clear. And you just start with a question, have you ever felt like, or did you ever use that product X, Y, and Z? And you just hook them instantly, make them interested. Yeah, those are the people that win, that just break the problem down to a 5-year-old. Yeah, I hope that was good an intro. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Clemens. And one thing you didn't include there was your story around persistence. So I think you are probably one of the most persistent people that I know out there. So it's a really
it is.
It's a really important thing.
I mean, who wants to know? Yeah, I kind of bammed my way into my dream role here with Simon. I refused to give up. Like I just had that dream of working with Simon Squibb, and I was like, I'm not gonna give up until I achieved that. And there were small steps. I sent them 167 message over 167 days, and yeah, I never gave up. And eventually, they recognized me because like a guy from Germany who is annoying you so much doesn't happen every single day. So there are always ways to stand out and get what you want. That's what I can tell you guys.
And the amazing thing is you've taken what's been going on in the UK over to Germany and be able to reach a whole new audience and expand that out. So it's amazing what you've been doing, Clemens.
For the invite, yeah.
So Lewis is our next pitcher. Are you ready for your pitch, Lewis?
Yeah, my man.
Okay, I will get the clock ready.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So, when was the last time you went into a pub and you looked at the menu and thought, raise your hand? Now, I want you to lower your hand if you also felt like that food that you received wasn't fresh. That's where we make a difference. I am trying to create IES AB Community Pub. Our local pub has just come under the sale because the Whitbread has gone under.
So this is a unique opportunity because as per the contract, they are ripping out the entire infrastructure, meaning we can get it in, do a deep clean and put our kit straight in, straight off. I am an AV installer, certified integrator, not just a concept. I work with Control 4, Crestron and Lutron. I am CDA member, HDA member, Gallo Acoustics and Aquavision. And I have legal backing. Sorry, losing my train of thought a little bit. I am back in my local community. There's lots of talent in my town, but they do not have the opportunity to perform. That's where we make a difference. We're going to put a 300-inch projector and cinema quality projector where we can change their logo to the stage name, and we can have a multitude of events. One venue, many events. I need 5 to 5K to make this reality possible by purchasing the pub and all these bits and bobs to go in it. Lewis Brand out.
Just on time. Amazing, Lewis. I'll jump in straight away. I think you went in around timing. I'd probably polish the timing bit a little bit more. It felt like you went into a bit too much detail for an initial pitch. However, the fact that you've got that as a bit of an urgency, I wouldn't remove that from the pitch. I would just polish it up slightly. And that could naturally move on to the narrative around why you. You went into a little bit about you. And it would be quite nice to see if you showed the why you and story told around what uniquely you could do with this opportunity that nobody else can in a very short personal narrative to you, because it's clear when you were pitching, you're very passionate about this. It's something that's really meaningful for you. And I think with some light tweaks on there, you could polish out the story a little bit more. But no, thank you. That was a great pitch.
No, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Yeah, no, I myself, I come from a disadvantaged background. I lost my mum when I was 10 to cancer. I lost my nan to cancer, 6. Lost my granddad when I was 15 to cancer. And my father abandoned me from 6. I grew up in the care system. So community, if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't be the man I am today. Yeah, I've overcome a lot of personal struggles. I have an ADHD. The society naturally likes to think that's a disorder, when in actual fact it isn't. It's a superpower. It means we can see a broader vision, and it's a unique opportunity for us. It literally needs to be sold within 5 weeks, so it's a cash sale, so time is of the essence. Why me? Because I am the dealer. I can get things far more cheaper than what your average person can. If I use Crestron, I get 50% discount and 62% discount on any audio system. And I'm an 18th edition electrician, 18 years in the trade and 8 years in the AV industry.
Thank you so much for sharing. Honestly, I guess parts of your life that really and truly really resonate quite deeply. I think what's even more brave about it is the fact that you're still here, still with us, you're still fighting a good fight. So no, honestly, thank you so much for sharing that. On the pitch front, I think what's really interesting is you have so many strings to your bow, by way of the accreditations that you have, the experience that you have, and there is definitely an element of the fact that you are the person to drive this forward. What's interesting is, in contrast, there are some words that are kind of maybe bringing that weight down and not letting them land as much. So the idea of you kind of trying to build as opposed to what you suggested there at the end, as in, I know that I'm the person to do the job. I think you should always kind of lead with that sort of energy of, look, again, as I mentioned before in other pitches, this is going to happen with or without an individual's help. Your vision and your mission are very, very, very kind of like strong within that. So I think my feedback would be kind of like, be the undeniable force, know that you can get things done. And then I think in terms of tightening the kind of narrative around it, I worry less about the accreditations, leave more to be desired. If people want to know about accreditations, they can ask those kind of on the follow-up. You don't want to lose people with, HDA, this acronym, that acronym, this acronym. Just get them straight to the point of, there's a really great opportunity. We've got 5 weeks to transform this space, and we're going to do it because I've got 8 years of experience. what I'm asking for is 525, not 525, because it gets a little bit confusing when you say it. 525,000. It's a small investment that unlocks X amount of opportunity. And within 30 seconds, you basically said everything you need to, and you've got so much more room to then talk about a bit more about yourself and a bit more about what the product unlocks. But really well done. Pass it on to Coral.
I'm only really echoing what Kenneth said. I'm not technical at all, and that kind of lost me with the abbreviations and the technical side. And I thought, great pitch. Me, I'm not technical. It wouldn't have gripped me. But the personal story then that came after it, I think that is so much more powerful. So it showed vulnerability. It showed that you wanted this community and this is why you did it. It shows purpose. It would have connected and resonated a whole lot more if you stripped it back and just put emotion in and kept the language basic. Like you say, before any work gets done, that could be another conversation. Well, do you have these accreditations? Can you do this? I think you could strip it back. But I think the story is very, very powerful. But the vulnerability and your story, your personal experience and your stories is so, it would make people then think this is why he's doing it. This is the purpose, the motivation behind it. And the energy and the enthusiasm, I think it's the passion that I can feel. It's the passion. When you're talking about life events that have been going on in your life, again, I talked about it before, where there's pain, there's purpose, you're seeing something and you're changing something and you've got the skills to do it. I really think it was great, but I'd really like to see that stripped back and made it a lot more jargon stripped out, and the abbreviations, and a bit more of your human side of your personality, which I think is great.
Just a practical thing, because it is kind of like a short thing that you are looking for in the next 5 weeks. Practically, it is very difficult to build up that level of momentum with investors. However, if you were to reach for the moon and actually make traction, you'd probably want to look for investors that have specialist real estate knowledge. If they've already know the real estate market and the opportunity there, they will probably be able to do their due diligence and underwrite. So look at what the risks are and whether it would make sense very quickly. If you went to just any investor that didn't have that knowledge, it would take them a lot longer for them to actually be able to support you with that. So given that it is a quick turnaround, I would probably say you want quality conversations as quickly as possible.
I mean, I've got an incredible team behind me. One of my team members has ran 3 pubs before, won Best Community Pub of the Year 2009, Bateman's Cellar, 3 years on the trot, and Best Pub Website of the Year. And together they hold 54 years in hospitality, so they know how to run a pub. And I am the AV guy that's going to be doing all the techie bits. Basically, there's going to be 2 keypads by the bar. So the point is, you touch one button, the lights turn on, the audio goes through, all the video distribution goes out. One touch of the button, meaning my employees can focus more on being with the community. And we give a lot more opportunity. We're backed by the entire community. Harlow Rock School, Harlow Playhouse, Harlow Hip Hop Pop Dance Crew, Harlow Livewire, and we're using all local suppliers, so Bush Fair Butchers and the Churchgate Street Sausage Shop and Mayfield Farm Bakery. We've also got a community event happening, so they both sell sausages. And when I was filming them to, basically I'm doing like a YouTube story to put the evidence of the support online for an investor to see the people behind who we're helping. This actually came about. So we're actually doing a sausage bake-off in front of the pub, or plan to do. So we're going to have the Bush Fair Butchers versus Churchgate Street Sausage, and they're going to decide once and for all who has the ultimate sausage in Harlow. The community is going to decide, obviously blindfolded to remove any favouritism.
That's amazing. Lewis, I was going to actually ask you, there's a film, it's called Mother's Pride, and I don't know if you've watched it. It is actually about a pub that is just not making any money at all, and they're looking at someone wants to buy it, and the people that actually own it, they actually got the community to kind of put their money into to stop it from being sold to someone else. And they had they went in a competition actually for the, I don't know if it's beer or cider, but it was based on a similar thing, doing a lot of fundraising and activities. I don't know if you're doing any kind of crowdfunding or any of the looking at any of the websites. There are some websites where you can, they do like a match, they'll match what comes in, or whether you've thought about a community fundraiser. There are lots of things that come to my mind, whether you've got a team that could help you with trying to get some money into it. So there's probably lots of different avenues. Because you're 5 weeks, I would be going for as much as you can, where you're
to be fair, I was toying with the idea, like you mentioned it, like I was thinking about doing like a founder's shirt. So like if you invest X amount, you get a founder's shirt and 10% off lifetime guarantee. For example, if you invest 100K, you get the 10% off lifetime plus a IESAB Community Pub founder's shirt to be like, your accreditation to
really good. And actually, if you think about what you're talking about, the community, things that are in the community businesses might invest. If you look at your local council, what they've got for the area, if you look at whether it's something about the heritage, or I know a lot about this because I'm putting through a lot of funding applications myself at the moment. So I've seen that there are opportunities, and 5 weeks you need to start thinking, do as much as you can. You might think, oh, we're not sure how much we're going to get from it, but the community involvement and tapping into those resources could be really powerful for you. I actually think, I want to say no, because you've got your story, you've got your team, you've got those resources, you've got the skills to do it. And have you thought about getting in press, the BBC, local press, any of the media involved? They can get you.
No idea how to.
That would just be, so I don't know what your team is, and I'm sure we can, well, I'm happy to pick that conversation up with you in terms of getting a media pack together, sending out, and you're going to have to work really fast to do this, getting this story out, saying it.
Oh, don't get me wrong, like I'm tunnel visioned. I'm like a man possessed. I'm up at 3 a.m. and it's the first and only thing I'm concentrating at the moment. 3 a.m. I'm not going to sleep till midnight. I'm part of the School of Mentors group, so I've got James Dominican, School of Hard Knocks, as a mentor. I've got Tony Robbins as a mentor, and I also have Simon Squibb as a mentor.
So my thoughts were the BBC is quite powerful. They love local stories. So I don't know what the BBC in your areas, for example, we've got BBC Radio Lancashire, and they like local stories. And then you have more national. And I'm saying the BBC because I've got experience with the BBC, but there are other local radio stations that can get it. But the BBC would give you coverage. You will get more coverage, and you may have somebody that's listening or that can help you with it. And if you do something like a founders package, where you've got something where you're saying like you can get a t-shirt, you can get this, you can, once you get this out to the press and you send them your press release, what you want them to release with a picture, get a headshot, get a picture of the pub, get maybe some of the residents giving you some feedback on what it means to them and how many lives you're going to enhance by doing this.
Oh, don't tell me. I'm already way steps ahead of you. I've interviewed a whole lot of them. There's people that are with ADHD or grew up in the care system where the society as a whole just turned a blind eye to them. They end up in the rock school. They end up in hip hop dance crew. They end up in Livewire. Why? Because it's a way they can express themselves. This is why it resonates with me so much, because I want to give them that opportunity to actually be a dreamer, come through our doors. We pay them to perform. They have that inner belief and they walk out a certified artist, dreamer to certified artist, that self-belief that they can actually make a bit bigger impact in the world and the global stage.
Amazing. Are you on to the next picture? So if you want to revert back to me for any ideas, I'm happy to speak more about it. It sounds like you've got it covered though.
I'd still love to grab your contact if I could, Carol. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's follow up about this and see how we can help you. We're 2 hours 40 minutes in. I think it's time, because we've been sat down for a long time, people who've been here from the start, let's have a quick 5-minute break. And Alma, if you are there, you will be the first pitcher when we get back. So Salman, you are on the wait list. Yes, I did see your name. You are on the wait list. So we have got you on the list. Don't worry. But a quick 5-minute break, stretch your legs, get some brews, and we will be back. Welcome back. I hope everyone has had the opportunity to refresh and get themselves ready for the next round of pitching. We have 1 hour and 15 minutes left of this 4-hour sprint, but it was definitely a much needed break. Another panelist has joined us. Kirin, I see you. Hello.
Good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are. Evening.
Good morning, Kirin. Do you want to give a quick introduction to who you are and where in the world you're joining us from?
Sure. I'm in Los Angeles, California, so 10:45 in the morning here, and I love to help startup founders communicate what they do to the rest of the world so that they understand it and you get what you want, which is usually investment or customers or the right hire or making your board happy, whatever it might be. So that's my thing, and I've been doing that solo for about 5 years. Work with a lot of accelerators, including Techstars, which has given me all sorts of fancy awards, which I really appreciate. I just love to see founders win. That's why I'm here.
Amazing to have you join us. So we are 2 hours 45 minutes in, so we've had quite a lot of pitches so far. So how we've got it structured is we're rotating, where we'll give a 90-second pitch, cut the mic at 90 seconds, and jump straight into feedback. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, so anyone who's on the wait list, you are pretty much going to get a space. We will fit you in. So everyone who wants to pitch today, who is still in the room, if you haven't put your details in, just drop us in the chat, because we have got probably space for 1 or 2 right at the end, because this is a great opportunity for everyone to get involved. So on the panel, there is myself, there is Coral, who is my co-founder. We've got Kenneth from London, and we now have Kirin, who's just joined us from Los Angeles. So we have the north of England, south of England, and all the way onto the west coast of America. We did have Clemens, who joined us from Germany, but he's got signal connection, so he may or may not be back. But we are now going to go to our next pitcher, who is Alma White. Alma, are you ready, and are you still here?
I am still here.
So please feel free to start when you are ready.
86% of women have been harassed or intimidated at the gym. 1 in 10 don't go back. That's the industry that I work in. Its answer to women is to sell through shame. Fix your body, earn your food, new year, new you. And it works. Guilt converts. It's why women join in January, disappear by March, and blame themselves. I built AW Wellness differently. We work from the inside out, because when a woman moves from self-care instead of self-hate, she doesn't quit, she stays for years. At 24, I borrowed £10,000 to open a women's only gym in Tottenham, where I grew up. Nobody else is offering what we do. A holistic and trauma-informed approach to movement that addresses the underlying blockers and puts an end to guilt and the stop-start cycle. Since opening, we've helped hundreds of women, generated over £430,000 in the last 3 years, and built our community almost entirely through word of mouth, because what we're doing actually works. I've proven this model in a small space, and now I'm seeking investment of £250,000 so that we can become the gym that changes the future of women's fitness forever. Get in touch.
Amazing and perfect on the timing. Kirin, you just joined the panel, so shall we throw it straight over to you? I'd love to hear what you thought of Alma's pitch.
I thought very clear, You didn't speak too fast, which is great because sometimes entrepreneurs want to fit as much as they can into 90 seconds and speak really fast. Very confident, you know, your world, and that certainty comes across. I think for me, you started with several stats, and so there can be a danger in having too many. And because this is such a personal thing, a personal story could have been an even stronger hook. Just this was good, but that could be just a tiny bit more, just because what you're doing is so emotional and really bring us in there. You have some very compelling results already. You know, you've done it all through word of mouth. You've already, you know, it sounds like you've become profitable. I wasn't clear, 250,000 pounds, if that's enough to open a second location, if that's enough to create a franchise system. Like what, like when there was a little bit of a gap there between the money and what that gets you, and sort of that next level, or what the overall vision is. You said gyms everywhere. I'm like, in the UK, globally, like I wasn't sure where that was. So there's a little bit of I was a little unclear on those, and I think those are pretty easy fixes. Brick and mortar is harder. It's a different type of investor, so you need to find the right one. But I think those probably an angel more than a VC would be the right fit for you. So that's what I got. But great job.
Kenneth, have you rejoined the party?
Yeah. I never left. Never left the party. Fantastic pitch, Alma. I think also being local to Tottenham, really, really nice to kind of hear what you're doing, what you're building. I think you, exactly as Kirin said, like leading with the stats was really, really great. Really drove home the actual problem itself. The danger, as she mentioned, can be sometimes kind of looking at that stat and saying, okay, what does that look like on the other side? One thing that I would say in terms of by way of, and I mentioned this before, and kind of you may not have been here in the past, which is just being really careful with wording such as like nobody else is doing what we're doing. I think it's totally fine if that's the case today, but typically it's way easier to say something along the lines of we've got an early mover advantage, we're the first to be kind of pioneering this, because the defensibility behind it isn't so much that you're the only person to do it. So you're the only person doing it now, and the traction that you've got proves that, you know, this is obviously scalable. But we just need to make sure that you're showcasing, you know, all the things you've done. We don't want to bring it down by just kind of that one small sentence. So yeah, really, really like it. And yeah, exactly to Kirin's point, I would love to know how what the 250 actually unlocks for you, and really kind of throw us into the future. Like, what is the big future that you see happening? Like outside of Tottenham, outside of London, like how are you solving it? Whether it's global or whether it's kind of regional, whatever the case may be.
Do we have time for me to briefly answer?
We do.
Okay. So the 250 would be to open a new location instead of the one that we have currently in Tottenham. So one that's bigger, because our biggest issue at the moment is we can only see so many women per hour. So even though it has a lot of opportunity to be profitable, we're really capped in the amount of people. So it would be a bigger space. And the 250 covers like rent up front, the deposit, equipment, kit out, the bathrooms, installing all those kinds of things. And then past that, in terms of impact, what I want to create is also a CPD for coaches. So to actually bring trauma-informed coaching into PT qualifications, which if anyone here has done a PT qualification, the bar is very, very low. Anyone could be a PT. And I see the impacts of that. A lot of our customers come in with really kind of disordered thoughts that have been created not only by the industry, but unfortunately by personal trainers as well. So there's that angle. I also want to do a CIC to work kind of as like a sister, so we can actually do good in the community. I grew up in Tottenham, so there's still, although Tottenham has changed, as you'll know, Kenneth, there's still kind of a lot of need. And so I want to be able to address that as well and make sure that women from all over are able to access this service that we offer, and really to create spaces that are safe.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alma. Coral, did you have anything to add?
I'm a massive fan. I love what you're doing, and I like the way you've just tweaked your pitch from when you pitched last time when we had the EM practice pitch, and you are growing in what you're doing. I like what Kirin said about, and I've not thought about it, of you having a franchise model. I don't know if that's something you've thought about. I actually think that's a really great model, because you're talking about trauma training, and maybe if you can take that into other gyms and you can make that something that's your model and it's carrying on with your training and your accreditation and things like that, that would be massive, because then you're looking nationally, and you could be looking at global. And when Kirin said, I thought, wow, yeah, I'd not actually thought about that. And I've spoke to you a few times, Alma. And I love the idea of what you want to do with the CIC. You're passionate about it. You borrowed and invested your own money, which an investor will love to see that. The fact you've got the turnover, you show that it is making money, it does work. And then this thing about, because there's only one Alma. So to have a franchise system where you have these gyms that people pay into this system, and you then introduce your style and your system and your way of working, it means you can expand and be this global giant. But really well done. Something definitely to consider. I would definitely consider something like that. You're on mute, just to let you know.
Sorry. I said I feel really silly because that is the plan. Like, I've learned the hard way. Like, it's very hard to do it all on your own. Like, it is just me behind it. So definitely, like, franchise would be the way to move forward. So I'll find a way to put that into the 90 seconds.
Wise words from Simon Squibb: 1 + 1 = 11, not 2. Sometimes working with a competitor can actually be a superpower, not like your worst potential adversity. So it might be worth partnering up with someone to actually try and excel your business, because it's a lot easier doing things with someone than on your own.
I think partnerships are such a powerful thing in business, and like I've learned over the last 6 months that the more and more people that potentially you can partner with and do this 1 + 1 = 11 thing, you actually become such a fantastic incubator of opportunity. And it's just the more people you speak to, the more opportunities that can unlock. My only 2 comments I've got: the first, absolutely love the last sentence. I love the fact that you put in there a really bold and ambitious statement. My second thing, going on a little bit more about this like franchise model, it sounds very similar to the Les Mills franchise model. So if you could create a Les Mills franchise model that worked for trauma training, that could be something that, like Coral was saying, could be international, could be scalable, and that could be where you turn a million to billion to a trillion idea. You've got that massive scaling opportunity and massive international expansion opportunity. So I think there's some very interesting things unlocked from this. But thank you, Alma.
Thank you.
And I just dropped something in the chat, YouTube link, Ellie Webb, who created Dry Bar, and how she scaled that brick and mortar business. And she's doing it again now with a massage business, by the way. So learn from people who've done it before.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Kirin. Again, drop your links in the chat. Alma, put your links in there. If you want people to connect with you on LinkedIn or follow Instagram, any social medias, please put them in. Same with anybody else. Anybody who wants to put their details in the chat, please do so. It's all about connecting people together. And who is next? Let's have a look who our next pitcher is. I'm just going to have a look because I know we are now coming into the next pitch window. So what I want to do is just make sure that everyone from the 6 to 7 UK slot has been covered, and we are now nicely moving on to the 7 till 8 slot. So while we're doing that, if there's any questions, let's throw them up really quickly and we'll take it from there. But if we don't, the next person I have on my list is Clenna. Clenna, are you in the...
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I'm there.
Are you ready to pitch?
Yes, let's go.
Amazing.
Okay, let's go.
You've got the
Hi,
floor, Clenna.
Havana. Yes, I avoid Carrefour is a trade native company linking customers and suppliers. The problem is today suppliers are struggling to find customers and customers to find trustful platforms. So we avoid feeding agents. We're playing real time about customs, quality, and prices. And how business model is like we are earning 20% of, for example, $9 million deals is like 1 million. And we have traction 10 paying customers. And we have teams around the world, like in the US, in France, UK, and many other countries. And right now we are trying to raise like $1 million because we are backed by some VC in the US, and we have several funding meetings. And we are trying to raise 1 million, and I think it's everything I need to add today. Thank you.
You had 30 seconds left, so that's a very quick pitch. Fantastic.
Okay.
We'll move.
That because I've been training myself like solution problem and business model, something like this.
Is there anything you'd want to add with the last 30 seconds?
Yes, and what I need to add is like most of people, they don't see supply chain as a problem or a deep tech or hey, but we are like suppliers are losing more than 40% of their money, and customers are being scammed. They're not having transparent platforms. For example, on our website, you can see your margins, you can talk to our agents, and this is making like supply chain easier, and we are making everybody saving money, and ourselves are more than 14 million LOEs. And we are trying to raise capital because we want to convert LOEs in money and one in capital and making the company grow. Because we are saying supply chain is a real problem, and most of people are not seeing the problem because, for example, you are ordering something from Amazon or Uber Eats, you don't think about what people are doing behind suppliers and people like me working with suppliers. And I'm seeing we are losing a lot of money because the system is low and nothing has been improved. We are stuck in the 20th century, and I think, hey, you can improve many things right now.
I'll start by saying that you went a lot more into the pain there, and you started pulling a little bit more on the emotional threads, which I felt like that naturally made me want to lean in a little bit more. And it sounds like you've got some fantastic traction, but I think having that additional pain gave me something that got my attention even more from what you just said.
Yes, thank you. It's just I'm trying to be sure because sometimes I have been pitching, I was too fast and no metrics because most of investors are more likely listen, hey, pitch. So supply chain is not something coming across their minds, but seeing what is going on in the world, we are just figuring how we are how to manage supply chain. So because we are facing a very big problem, losing a lot of billions, and we can be out here because we have a lot of customers worldwide saying, okay, we need coffee, because our main project is coffee, our bigger hey from East Africa. And using hey is helping our team, for example, even they need some info, they just ask to agents and receiving information real time.
So may I give you a suggestion, Claude? I think because I also I have a wonderful cheat sheet from Chris that I'm using just to read a little bit more. So you're in the supply chain for coffee and cocoa, which are products that most people know and love, one or the other. And so what Chris was saying was appealing to the pain of what's going on in the supply chain, but you could start with the pleasure that most people have from drinking those beverages, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes to get that into our hands in the morning or at night when we're cold or whatever. Like give us that. I call it sort of pulling back the curtain, because you know that world and you get to do that and you get to show us, and then you get to contrast it again emotionally with the kind of results that you're getting for your customers and the kind of traction that you have. So you get to weave together the business side and the emotional side. That is the art of a really great pitch. And so I totally get that you've heard that feedback before. Like, you can't just have a story, you have to have the business, but there is a way to do both that people will feel and remember and get excited about, because then they got everything they needed even in just 90 seconds. So you can use that time even better than what you did today. That's
okay, so you are suggesting to have the emotional part because like everybody loves coffee.
Yeah, like you take it for granted that you walk into your shop in the morning, or you press the button at home and you get your espresso shot or whatever, right? Like, you didn't really think about it.
Question, because I'm trying to be more transactional than emotional. But thank you very much for your feedback.
Yeah.
Emotions are very powerful things, though. I definitely say don't hold back on your emotions. Kenneth, go on. Go ahead.
It's pretty much exactly that. I was going to say that I think there's definitely a balance within the business of the storytelling, giving data, all this kind of stuff, and it's hard. It's hard to manage what one you should kind of put forward. But I think one thing that we've kind of seen throughout all of the pitches today is it doesn't matter so much how articulate you are about the exact figures and the exact numbers, and more so how articulate you are in helping people understand what the size of the problem is and how it affects them, whether it's them or directly or indirectly. And I think, like, I don't drink coffee, don't touch the stuff, because when I wake up, that'd be way too much energy. But I do understand that there is a whole subculture to it. I would never start thinking about the issues with supply chain. Even the story about you mentioning, you know, you've got 10 paying customers, which is a stat. But it's like, but those 10 paying customers, you're solving really great things for them. So it can be a number, and it can be a small story, and the emotions kind of put into it, rather than our own sort of projected emotions of, I think this is really important. It's like, no, we think this is really important because, and then you kind of go into why you're solving the problem. So yeah, really great opportunities there. I know it's a lot back into 90 minutes, especially also in like a second or third language. So huge props to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I echo what Keith said. When you lead with emotion, it resonates with people. So yeah, and definitely include that. Don't exclude it, because yeah, you'll be surprised of how many people actually you connect with, rather than being emotionless. And people think, oh, she's a bit dead inside. Don't be that person. Be the person where you have your heart on your sleeve.
Yes, thank you. Yes, but I'm trying in the beginning to talk more about numbers, because at the beginning, my first pitches were more emotional, and my first investor say, you are not talking about the numbers. So I switched, talking more about the metric, the numbers, the customer business model, etc. And question and answer, I can be more emotional. So I'm trying to find a good solution. Is not easy because supply chain is pretty complex. You know, it must be short enough, and making sure your audience understand what you are doing, because most of pitches are bringing me, hey, agent says, but not supply chain. You know, it's not something so common right now in early stage or pre-seed ecosystem, you know. But thank you very much for your insight. We tried to add more storytelling in my pitch decks and even in my pitches when I'm pitching.
One last, when this is not just for you, Clemens, for everyone, is to watch more pitches, right? So you get a sense of what works and what doesn't from watching others do it. So going to more events, watching more online, and decide for yourself, is this working? If I were an investor, would I be persuaded by this? And the more you put yourself on the other side, the easier it will, you'll start to hear what good sounds like and be able to better translate that into something for your own story. Hope that helps too. Spend more time doing it.
Amazing. Coral, did you have anything to add before we move on?
No, I think everybody said it really. And I think when we use the word emotional, so just when it's emotional, it's not that people are expecting you to cry and get upset and to do anything like that. So don't think of us saying get emotional where you're showing your emotions. However, I think a word I like better is when we talk about your vulnerability, your heart, what is happening, how this is making you feel, or how it can make other people feel. It's showing that picture, that thing that's happening that we don't see. And that is, it's almost like creating a picture with your words that people can see and they're experiencing it. So if you can get their emotions, if you can move them emotionally by what either you're saying and the way that you're giving your pitch and your story, they'll remember that emotion. They will always remember how you made them feel or what you made them think about when you're pitching. So just think about that. Emotional is not quite kind of the word I'd say. I'd say vulnerability. You're talking from the heart, and these are your experiences. And that's all I wanted to add. But well done.
In the wise word of Peter Sage, when you've got your mindset and your purpose and your heart aligned, you become quantum aligned. And that's when you can really resonate with people.
Yes, thank you. Because in the beginning, I avoid the companies coming from emotion, because I met many suppliers in person, because most of supply chain company, maybe talking with, they are based in Europe, they have never been in South Africa, Latin America, but I've been living in Mexico, I've been living in South America, I've made suppliers in Africa, in South America, even in person, from Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, and I have good relations with them. So when I'm running a company only on decks, is also for a lot of people behind this project. They have been helping me, even if they are not visible, might not find them honor because they won't stay privacy, let's say. But yes, we have a very strong emotional background, and it's important. I think making money is not just for a profit, it's helping your community. Because if you can improve a problem that many people are facing, mostly in global emerging economies, is helping the economy, helping the climate, helping the customers, helping our planet, because best supply chain is even improving the climate problems, is a very huge problem. I think this is why we're trying to find the best investors so we can really build something and improve even humanity, let's say like this.
Excellent.
Amazing. Okay, so as a reminder, please drop your details in the chat if you want to connect with anyone. If you want to say your LinkedIn's, all that information, please do so in the chat. We are going on to our next person, Erica Lima. Are you around? Are you available?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Erica.
Hi, can you hear me well?
I can hear you very well. Are we catching you in Brazil?
Yes, I'm in Brazil.
Amazing. So, are you ready to pitch?
Yes, it's
Okay.
my first time. It's my first time pitching, but okay, let's go.
Amazing. So,
all right,
go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Erica from Brazil, and I found Vexor. Vexor helps founder-led digital agencies to uncover what is draining their profit and keeping the businesses dependent on them. We are starting with branding, marketing, and technology agencies, where growth often brings more people, more clients, and more complexity, but not necessarily more profit. Founders, they know something is not okay. They know that something's not working, but they see the symptoms, but they cannot see always what is causing them. They can't see the roots of it. So that's why that's where Vexor comes in. Think like an X-ray. A doctor, before he diagnoses, before he fixes something, he needs to see what's going on, right? And that's exactly what Vexor does. So within 48 hours, we show founders what is really happening, why, and what needs attention first. Some of the outcomes are strong profitability, less founder dependency, clearer decisions, and a business that scales without unnecessary complexity. I built Vexor because I lived this problem. Years ago, I worked for a company and we were in a board meeting.
Erica, you hit the 90 seconds, so it has cut off at the 90 seconds. But from what I heard, that was a fantastic first pitch. So I loved the way you put in around within 38 hours, so the Alex Hormozi dream outcome. So within 38 hours, you're getting them to that dream destination. So I think that was really well done. The obvious thing, you'll need to shorten your pitch. It was a little bit too long, but I think one other thing I'd like to know a little bit more is start a bit earlier. Why you? So why is Erica the person who I should trust, and why are you wanting to do this? So I'd love to hear a little bit more about like your personal journey, why you set it up, and maybe give just one simple example. So you use the example of it's like an X-ray for your business. Okay, I like that, but I don't really know how that would work for my business. What is there one practical, simple example that you could use that you could showcase it in 10 to 15 seconds? But that was my initial thing. But no, very well done for a first pitch. Thank you for pitching. The other panelists,
I just would like to say what just really what Chris says, so not very much Erica. I actually thought as you were getting to the end and then you were going to give your story, I actually thought that should have come in right at the beginning, because I really wanted to hear your story, because that was I was waiting for you to understand it. I love the example of the X-ray. And again, I agree with Chris if there was some example, because I think you're very good at painting word pictures. I think you could do this extremely well. You speak with enthusiasm, very clear. You just get that 90 seconds, but put it at the beginning. Let me know about you, and then I get that trust. I see that why are you doing it? And then you've got the problem, and then you showed the purpose, and then you have the ask. I just think just develop it. But for your first pitch, well done, really well done. And like I say, reverse order it, reverse engineer it.
So just to tell my personal story quickly, that I started but unfortunately couldn't finish. I was working in a company and I was in a board meeting, and the CEO, he started talking about some problems. And when he said that we needed to hire 20 more people to fix the problems, I raised my hand. I said, I'm sorry, but you were wrong. We don't need to hire more people, because the problem is the structure, it is in the structure. And because of that, I was fired. He said that I was trying to change the company's DNA, and I was not really committed to the business. That was not true. So, okay, I was fired, but that left with me. And that's why I started Vexer, talking with another businesses, talking with founders and asking them if they were more concerned with fixing the problems they were already happened, or if that would be good for them to know and prevent these problems before. So that's how I started shaping Vexer. And you asked for a clear sample, right? Okay, I'm going to give you. For example, an agency can hit 100K a month and think that the answer is hiring another account manager. But if the real problem, it is a poor delivery structure or founder dependency, the new hire adds cost without fixing the cost, without fixing the cause. Do you understand? So that's why Vexer, we help founder-led digital agencies to uncover what is draining their profit and keeping the business dependent on them. So did I answer your question, or do you want one more example?
That was very good. That was very, very good. And I think kind of what you're saying after, it's always when you get the pitch and then you give the story, you just need to get that in the pitch. You need to get that example in, give that at the beginning, and hookers basically get the attention at the beginning. Your story, who you are and why you're doing it, and your example. Well done.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think you did a really fantastic job of kind of really articulating the pain and the problem. So I've been in the agency space for a good few years, and it's really nice to kind of hear someone actually talk about, you know, growth always isn't linear. And yeah, much like echoing like everything everyone else said in terms of by way of getting that kind of lived experience as soon as possible, really reinforces the fact that like you're a domain expert, you understand the business, you understand what scaling actually means, and you just really want to drive that home as soon as possible. So again, got cut off, we'll have to have that at the front. I think the other things that leads to is kind of more credibility and more understanding of why your ambitions are the way they are. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Alex Hormozi's More, Better, New framework, but it speaks a lot to exactly what you're talking about in terms of how can you grow and scale a business without having to kind of get, it's not always new customers, sometimes you have to do better by having a better team. So the feedback I have here really is exactly as kind of Chris was outlining, in that 90 seconds, just kind of showcasing what that looks like, and in steps, very, very high level, but it's kind of, okay, within 38 hours, you've been able to map everything out, but what's that first step that takes 2 minutes? And then what's that next step that takes perhaps an hour conversation, and then going on from there? And just really detailing how simple and effective it is, because you've done all the hard work by having the lived experience. So really well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and just a very practical tip for you, Erica, because it was your first time, is knowing how to manage a time clock like that. So if you only have 90 seconds, and this is what I guided somebody else who's going to be pitching a little bit later, is I said, you've got to get to your solution by the no later than the 30-second mark in a 90-second thing. And so you weren't getting to the solution until like almost the 1 minute mark, right? Because there was so much background stuff. So whatever story you're telling about yourself, you're going to have to get it really, really crisp, so that we can get to that solution, and you're gonna have enough time to explain it, and then still time to talk about the business side, and then close it out with your ask, right? So manage the time. You know what you need to say, just make sure you say it in shorter sort of lengths, right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so again, Erica, if you could share your details in the chat. Fantastic first pitch. One thing I would say, as an investor going from that pitch, I would want to dive into a few more details, such as what's your specific niche? What is one very specific problem you can solve? And what's one example of a specific problem you've solved for a client? Like because what you're doing, personally, it's fantastic, but there are so many different applications of what you could do. The trick will be to find the right thing where you have a business model that is sustainable and scalable. Okay, Kirin, you said you'd be speaking to someone. I think they're next on the list. Mario. Mario, are you ready to pitch?
Yes.
Hello, Mario.
Hello.
Lovely to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
I'm just getting the clock set up, and then we will be ready.
I'm sending you all the good vibes, Mario. Let's do it.
Thank you.
So remember, 90 seconds. 90 seconds is not a long time, but start when you are ready.
When I was 8, the 2008 crisis changed my family overnight. We sold our home and relied on food banks. I didn't understand the economics. I only knew stability had become uncertainty. Years later, I saw the same risk spreading through systems people rely on, leaders making blind decisions with scattered information. Federal agencies reported $186 billion in improper payments, yet research on federal disaster mitigation found $1 spent early can avoid about $6 in losses. So I asked, what if we could see a crisis before it hits? I'm Mario, like the video game, CEO of CCMC. Our team combines technical innovation with institutional execution. Together, we built Prometheus, a patent-backed predictive intelligence layer engineered to work with systems organizations already use. Think of it as an intelligence team inside a command center. It unifies scattered signals into one clear picture, helping leaders see what may happen next, test decisions, and act before your tax dollars are spent. In testing, Prometheus adapted in under 9 seconds and showed over 90% lower total cost than the tested GPU baseline. Faster, cheaper, safer, better informed decisions, built for accountability expected from AI. We're entering government through accelerated R&D pathways, a patent family portfolio, USDA HHS contract, and an active partnership pathway with Illinois. I know what it feels like when warning comes too late. Prometheus gives the leaders our families depend on time to act before options disappear. Join us in building what comes next, because the future belongs to those prepared to act early. Thank you.
1 second over, so we'll let you have that. Boom. Amazing. Who would like to start? The feedback is open. I will start then. I will start. I absolutely loved when you said Mario like the video game, because there is psychology about how people remember names. And it's if you can create something that is memorable, people will remember your name. So I absolutely love that. Overall, I thought it was a fantastic pitch. The only thing I would change is you did put a few too many buzzwords into the mix. I think there was too much where you went a little bit technical, and there were some things that I was a little bit, I'm not really sure I understand exactly what is going on there. However, the main structure of what you are doing sounds absolutely fantastic. So I think there are lots of story narratives you can pull into that where you don't need to rely on technical buzzwords. Because I think the core is fantastic, and it was very confident the way you presented it. So well done on that, Mario. Kenneth, it looked like you've got some comments.
Yeah, so I was just taking a moment really to kind of digest what you'd said, because I was trying to piece together some of the buzzwords, some of those words there. You have what is a either natural or practice ability to kind of storytell, which is fantastic to see. So please do continue with that. And obviously the support you get in Kirin is definitely shining through. So again, 4%, 5%, whatever it is, make sure it gets paid. But I think really and truly here, I loved hearing about your pitch. I think it's a fragmented system that you're kind of attacking basically and trying to piece together and put things in a really nice order. We'd love to hear a bit more, and maybe it's a question for offline, about what the challenges look like and why it is that you are the person to be able to get over those when we're looking at like a government level and breaking that down. But no, really great stuff.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that, Mario. And I have this thing about Super Mario. So when you said the Mario, it kind of made me think that's going to stay in my mind. I'm going to remember you. I just like as well your disposition in how you speak, how confident you are about your product and the way that you present yourself. And I think that is so important. I'm glad I let Chris go first because I am not technical at all. And some of the buzzwords for me, it kind of lost the meaning for me. And again, if you can kind of break that down a bit, I think people sometimes expect it with AI, but then sometimes when you're pitching or you're actually pitching to investors, they don't actually know the buzzwords either. So I'm glad that Chris said he didn't know any because he's extremely technical. So that made me feel much better that I was getting missed out on it. But I thought that was really excellent what you did. Lovely, controlled, the way you presented yourself and your timing. So I hope you do really well. And well done. Well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. De nada.
It's awkward almost for me to comment because I know you so well, Mario. I want everyone else to speak first, but I know you worked really hard to make that 90 seconds as impactful as possible. I do agree with the buzzwords. I think that is, I've heard you do it before. Remember, we always talk about plain English, and this is not just for you, for everyone. Plain English is so valuable. If we just hear it like we would in a conversation, it's so much easier for us to understand on the other side. And there's no dumbing it down per se. I hate it when people call it that because that's not what you're just making it easy for someone to understand. The technical chops and all that are still underneath there. If somebody wants to geek out with you on that, they certainly can. So, and then for those you were talking about those personal stories, Mario and I did talk about that also, and that's why that is in there about the way he grew up and having experienced that disruption and uncertainty as a child, which is really hard, right? Like kids, it's a terrible feeling for you to not know why your world is changing upside down all of a sudden, and wanting to prevent that for other people. So I can speak because I know Mario has a really, really big heart and does want to make the world a better place in many ways. So anyway, great job.
Thank you. Hearing everything that everybody has said so far, it really means a lot. I hope I'm going to post down below our capability statements. This is what we pitch to any government agency, and it's hopefully in a bit more clear English, so you guys can take a look at that. And I hope that we're all able to work together to hopefully make bring more stability.
The very last thing I would add is having government relationships and contracts in place is fantastic because that's showing highly credible partnerships, which does show you've got a lot of legitimacy in what you are building out. So that is a massive thing to include in there. Salman, you are on the wait list, but we have got time to add you in now. Are you available and can you pitch?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we don't have your details. So please make sure that you put everything into the chat. So make sure you include your details, I'll let you pitch and then we'll ask questions. So when you are ready, please feel free to begin. But lovely to have you here, Salman.
Oh, yes, I'm ready. Hello, everyone. My name is Salman. I'm 24-year-old. I'm solving a problem of a quick commerce market. Like you don't need to open different apps for groceries or beauty products or fashion products to come at your house in 15 to 30 minutes. So my app Receipt is solve all these products. We have all categories: the beauty products, fashion, shoes, clothing, groceries. All products can be come into 5 minutes to 10 minutes in your houses by using a drone deliveries. And also we have the options of the regular deliveries of e-scooter for the nature Like we will also save the nature also from the e-bikes. And also we will get a 5% discount for like in starting of our members. So they can get direct cashback to their bank account, not to their wallets. So they can use their money in anywhere. Done.
You have 30 seconds, 20 seconds, so please feel free to say some more. Where in the world are you located?
Mumbai.
Mumbai.
So my planning are for Middle Eastern countries. Right now, there are no options for them for 5 minutes deliveries. And obviously for drone deliveries, that will be a unique thing for people.
Okay, the feedback is open.
I'm happy to jump in. First with a question. I mean, firstly, well done for kind of jumping in. I know that you were on the wait list, so yeah, it's a brave thing to do. So well done on that part. The question I had was really around, and maybe perhaps I didn't quite hear it, but it was more so around what you said at the very end there. I think it's really impactful by way of, there's not really many other options. Things like Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and these kind of big global brands. What's you're getting kind of domestic items to people within 30 minutes. What stops someone else kind of coming in and just saying, hey, we've got the infrastructure in other countries, we can just do it? Because I imagine there is something like that exists in Mumbai specifically.
No, it's I planned it for a UAE, because right now there is a market open for the quick commerce, and right now there is no one who is doing these kind of things for the drone deliveries. And also I'm thinking to add a features like voice assistant. So if you just speak the beauty product name, so it will add to your cart. So just you need to payment by yourself. So that also things will be sorted by AI.
Okay. I think there's definitely potential to kind of take the business forward. What I'd be careful of is worrying too much about an early stage the features that you're implementing. I'd really strive for as much traction as possible, getting as many users as possible, and then adding some of the nicer features that you mentioned, it being voice activated. But we'd love to kind of see how that's explored. And then the last question I have before I jump off was, what is the big ask that you have? What is it that you need?
So if for my starting, I am already ready with my demo website. So if I need to start with my 2 dark stores, drones, and the e-bikes need to buy, so it will cost me almost 500K to 950K.
Thank you.
So a couple of things. Are you doing this on your own? Do you have a team behind you? What inspired you to want to do this? Some of those general questions are the things I probably want to have seen a little bit more. It sounds very innovative, like the drone delivery side and the things that you want to implement with AI. The big questions from an investor's point of view, I think, are always going to be, what's the difference between what you can do and the likes of like an Amazon could do? Amazon put a lot in terms of what they're testing out, what they're getting out there. There's also different applications around the world where like Domino's in Australia use drone delivery by standard on their like pizza deliveries. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what's different for you, why it's important to you, and a bit more of the story behind that.
So it's began from my studies. So like I had studied like PGDM in e-commerce only. So if you ask me about the Amazon, so if you take the India, so in India, the quick commerce market has been started from 2022, but Amazon is just started in 2026 because it is a giant company. So for the big companies, they need to try many things before they start anything. So I can get a time advantage. So I don't think so Amazon is going to start drone deliveries that easily, like in 1 or 2 years. They will take more time because that is the question for their brand value. Because if you go to the big companies, they take more time to start this kind of things.
Thank you. Very helpful.
I think anytime you're entering a space where there's big companies already, you have to address the elephant in the room, because that's going to be in the back of everyone's minds. Like, what are you going to do about Amazon? What are you going to do about, sometimes it was Google or Facebook or whatever. And it is always possible to find the weakness of the big guys or know that they won't address something in a certain way because you have an understanding of that market that they don't have, or a certain experience that would be hard to replicate. So make sure you address, because I call those the nagging questions in the minds of whoever's listening. Just make sure the nagging question doesn't continue throughout your pitch.
This was my first pitch, so that's why.
Amazing. Look, you got to start somewhere. So great job for getting up and doing it. It is so hard to do this. And you know, make sure that you do have a close as well. So you just kind of petered out there at the end. That's not a great way to end a pitch. Like, have a call to action. This is like, I've drilled this into everyone. You are asking always for something. What do you want this audience to do? Do you want them to support you in some way? Even if you're not raising money yet, you still have a call to action. Maybe you're looking for customers. Maybe you're looking for feedback on the product. You're looking for someone to help you build it. Whatever it is, always have a call to action.
Great advice, Kirin. Salman, I just wanted to congratulate you on presenting when you were in the wait list, and you've not really had as much probably feedback that we've given everybody else to prepare yours and to get a pitch ready. First pitch, and it is always difficult. So I just wanted to congratulate you. You're the last one of the day as well, which is always tougher because you're sitting through listening to everyone else, and people do get quite nervous. I'm kind of with Kirin on what she was saying as well, with the call to action at the end, because it just stopped. So I always think back in the day where we made a presentation, we'd always introduce or have a hook, and at the end we'd have something, well, thank you very much for coming or listening to my presentation. You need something that just shows it's over. That's all. And the ask is a great way. So what I'm looking for today is da 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 da, boom, and that's it. This is what I need. And like Kirin was saying, it might not be that you want money. It could be that you want to collaborate. You'd like someone to maybe help you with feedback. There are lots of different asks, but your call for action at the end is really super important. Was it at the end of the day, what is it you want to get from your pitch? Think about what the outcome is that you desire from the end. But well done. And I think I wish you all the best. It's really hard when you're fighting against global giants. I know that feeling. It's really hard. So you're going to have some kind of edge where you're doing something different. Maybe it's a personal thing. People know you, but there's got to be something that an investor would think, oh, why not? Why are they not just ordering from Amazon? Why not just doing this? Just think about what your edge is, and maybe build some more moats into what you're doing that they're not doing. That might be another way to look at it also.
There will be one difference, like you can get a fashion products also in 5 minutes, and like if you are in emergency, so you can also get a medicines also in 5 minutes.
I'm actually thinking medicine's really good, because there's a lot of medicines that need to be refrigerated. So if you're talking about you'll have a refrigerated service with medicines, or there's something that you do that's a little bit different, that might be something to explore. So that's really good. Think about how you've got that edge that that nobody's doing. If you can, you've got something different. But well done.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
My very final comment, which comes from someone who has pitched to investors recently, one of the things they flagged was that they were looking for opportunities that were counter consensus. And what I mean by that is, if you're doing something that doesn't sound possible on paper, or there are objections around it, it puts you in quite a unique position. So if you say, I'm going to create the next Amazon, a lot of people will think, okay, that's quite impossible. But the fact that not many people are doing that, you are not going to have many other competitors other than the big players out there. So maybe if you create something that is 10x better in some way, shape, or form than Amazon, whether it undercuts them by 10 times the price, or whether there's 10 times better customer experience, or you're doing something that's so niche and special, you become counter consensus. And in a way, if you look at some of the biggest unicorns out there, they are counter consensus. So if you look at Airbnb, oh, you're going to get someone to come and sleep on a stranger's floor. Or Uber, okay, that will never happen because of all the taxi licensing. These were all counter consensus ideas that went against the grain and became highly successful. So I think the core of your concept has potential to take off, but I would probably say you need to take a step back, look really what your opportunity is. Think about what your entry point is and how you would build that out, and come back with a really strong sniper approach of what exactly you want to build. That would be my feedback, the final piece on that. Okay, we have had a couple of people who have not been able to attend, so we are ahead of schedule. We have 15 minutes left. I'm opening it up to anybody who is in the room right now who hasn't had the opportunity to pitch and who wants to pitch. I don't think there are many. I was having a look at the list. Alessia, I know you spoke earlier and you don't necessarily have a business pitch, you have a film pitch. But if you want to do a film pitch in 90 seconds, we'd be very happy to hear it. If you are there, Alessia.
I am here. I haven't planned one, but I can come up with one.
I'd love it. I'd love to hear it. So
Okay.
we'll do it official. We'll put the thing on the board, and we'll start with 90 seconds whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. If it starts, I'll be ready.
It will start when you start. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so when I was a child, my television broke, and we actually never fixed it. So me and my sisters ended up watching the same TV shows, not TV shows, actually films on cassette tapes and DVDs over and over again. And when I would go to school, people were watching popular TV shows, and I was kind of like excluded from some conversations because I didn't see the TV shows that I couldn't watch because I didn't have a television. So when I started to have access to mainstream media, I kind of like felt more included and had the opportunity to sort of feel part of something bigger. And it all started with Game of Thrones and watching behind the scenes videos of Game of Thrones, which is when I realized I would have loved to work in a TV set. So right now I actually work on various TV shows. Like I worked on an HBO TV show, on a BBC show, and I'm also writing and directing my own short films. Right now I am writing and directing a psychological thriller short film inspired by 90s family sitcoms, but also almost in a dark kind of psychological way. And it's about domestic violence and how it affects a woman with disability and 3 children. And I am hoping for this film to be screened at film festivals and sort of create community and bring people together so that we can have difficult conversations. I always make socially impactful films, so this is just the first one. Okay. I just came up with it right now, so I don't know. I was kind of like rambling a bit, but I hope it made sense.
Amazing, thank you. Kirin,
How was it? My unimprovised pitch.
Yeah, look, I'm the one who lives in LA, so I guess that's why you call me first, because what I have come to expect from folks in entertainment is that they know how to give a really sharp overview of the project itself. So I love the backstory of how you felt left out, and but it also sort of got you interested in being in this world, and now you are in this world, which is great. And then when you get to the part of talking about your own project, you're like, well, it's a psychological thriller, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You have to have that part super nailed down for anyone, anytime. So even though this was a 90-second thing, I want you to get super, super crisp on exactly what that story is and what you are wanting help with. Like that last part, you always got to be ready for, because where I live, like you could be in a coffee shop, you could be just, standing in line at the grocery store, whatever, like somebody somewhere might be able to help you if you know how to talk about your project. So get really, really crisp on that, because you've got a lot of great energy, which I love. Also, this is for you and for everyone. Maybe you did this, but I was sort of trying to channel you, like, just take a deep breath before you start. Like, I know you're trying to figure out the first sentence, but like in through the nose, out through the mouth, just reset. You're okay. You're safe. Nobody's coming after you. Public speaking is scary. I get that. Just, and then you start from a slightly more calm place anyway. But yeah, get really, really crisp on your project.
Okay, so do you mean I need to mention the project first and then?
You can have that backstory, but you may be in, like I said, you might be in a situation where somebody asks what you're working on. You need to be ready to talk about, well, I'm creating a psychological thriller. Like you might not even have time for all that stuff. Like, what is the 30-second version of that project, so that they get it and they're intrigued and they want to know more. right? That is your job as being somebody who's in the entertainment industry, because people where I live know how to do that really, really well. Like you will even hear celebrities, they get on a talk show, they have to be able to summarize that movie in 15 to 20 seconds. Right. So go back and also listen. Like this is what I said before. Examples are really great. Listen to other people talk about their projects. How do they summarize them? What's the thing that they're doing? And figure out how to use that for your own, so that you can get somebody interested in what you're doing. Because maybe you are like, are you doing it like a Jordan Peele thing? Like when he did Get Out, like, is there something to it that's like that? Like you can also give references to things that it's like this meets that, just to give shortcut, especially if they're in the entertainment industry, they'll know what you're talking about. Because they've probably seen it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And I don't work in entertainment, by the way. It's kind of always around me, even though I don't work in it. Like every billboard on my street is for some TV or movie or whatever. Usually, for award seasons, that's definitely all it is. So yeah, go for it. Keep going.
And do I mention the ask? Because I didn't mention it. But
what do you want? You are looking for somebody to fund the film. You are looking for somebody to help you film it. You are looking for someone to review the script. I don't know where you're at in the process, right?
Oh, so I'm casting right now. So I'm casting child actors. I found the location, which is in London. So we got that, and then we got some funding from like 2 people. We got some funding, not all of the funding. Okay. So we already got the funding because I got a bursary from the BAFTAs. So I was able to like meet a lot of people from that network, and also worked as a photographer, a video maker. So a lot of people like in business that like funded part of the film. And I guess I'm looking to meet philanthropists, people interested in social change that might be interested in it. So because I want to organize film screenings, so a lot of people might be interested in talking at the film screening, maybe sharing their experiences or talking about what they do, and having like being able to be in that room where there's a lot of not only filmmakers but business owners and philanthropists and change makers, and people who are interested in also maybe having their names in the credits. So I've seen a lot of short films that what they're selling pretty much is the name in the credits. So maybe you get the executive producer and you pay like a fee, like an amount, or your name get mentioned and people are happy to donate because people are happy to read their names in the credit. Like I'm always happy to read my name.
Yep. You already know what does that person want? This is part of the psychology, is whoever's in front of you, everybody wants something. What is it that they want? And when you can speak to that, yes, IMDb credits, like if that's what it is, like they want that to bolster their image somewhere else, or they want to be able to brag that they were an executive producer or something, like, right? What is it that they want? And tailor your pitch to that also when it's an ask around money or support. Yeah.
Do I do all that in 30 seconds? Do I just need to like learn how to...
Right. This is something to practice, and sometimes you know who's in front of you and sometimes you don't. So you may have to find out, you might have something that's more general, and then you can adjust as soon as you find out. And they're like, oh, well, actually I've done this, this, and this. And you're like, oh, right. Like I had this the other night. Like I go to tech events all the time. And the founder I started talking to didn't know he'd had already multiple exits, had already raised money for this thing. I was like, oh, have you validated this? Like, I don't know. Like because like you could be anyone. Like, I don't know if you actually know what you're doing or not. I was like, oh, yes, you do. Okay, I'm going to change tactics. Right. Yeah. So
thanks so much. I just randomly came out with a pitch. Well, the idea is already in my head.
You did it. I'm glad you did it. That's huge. That's huge. So good job for doing it, but get really crisp at explaining the project and have an ask.
Just gonna add on to that, like huge props for doing it on the spot. I think within the area and space of like TV, film, entertainment in general, like pitching isn't seen in the same way. It's not as like industrialized or institutionalized. So I think you do really well, kind of like just on the spot, just sharing what it is, and you're clearly very passionate about it. Exactly what Kirin said, in terms of just kind of sharpening that and tightening that. The beauty of this is it's recorded, so you can just go back and put all the pieces that you need and tighten what you do need to tighten. I'd also say like your biggest kind of unfair advantage is in being in the kind of entertainment industry. And as you outlined, like you know a lot of people within the kind of like filmmaking space, video creators, things like that, is you are genuinely 2 or 3 conversations away from the philanthropist that you outlined earlier on. It's not the same way as in like startups. Everyone is looking for funding, everyone at some point. You're in a very niche space by way of you're creating films that create conversations. And like Kirin said, Key & Peele's a great example. It's more than just, I want to make a film because I love films. It comes from a 90s baby who was running VHS forever and ever and ever, and is now trying to spark these hard hitting conversations. And that will resonate with someone who only invests in film. You'll be the kind of like 1% that stands out that says, it's more than just myself, there's something bigger. So yeah, I think definitely take that as a superpower by way of being able to have these conversations and happily saying to people, hey, look, this is what I'm building. This is the opportunity that I see. And as it's a very small sentence, but a really powerful one. You should have always been interested in psychological dramas, especially the ones that kind of spark conversation. That is something that will stay with people a lot longer than it may seem. So engineer that into all of the different conversations, the smaller ones, the bigger ones, whatever it is. Let people know who you are. And yeah, well done, very, very well done. All the best to you. I'm looking forward to seeing the films. More importantly, starting the conversations.
Thank you so much for the feedback.
I was actually just thinking the same. Can't wait to see the film. I can't really add anything else. I mean, well done. It was amazing. Had to have you stand in last minute and do what you did. Your hook, your story at the beginning really got to me. Having the TV and TV breaking and watching the same thing. I think I've watched a film or a series like that where I thought that must be horrendous in real life to have gone through that. And I think what I follow with what Kirin was saying, when it got to the point in your pitch about talking about your project, your actual project, you were hesitant. And I think that hesitance then, and I could see Kirin was actually, it was almost like you were trying to get her to just bring that out. And I feel that it is just practice, and just saying this to as many people as you can till you actually know it. I know you're enthusiastic, you're passionate about the project, I can see it, and you speak very well. I just think you need to know it so that it's just bam, 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 and you can do it. You just on demand. It's almost says, tell me about your project, here it is, give me a pitch, here it is, and you've done it so many times. But I'm really excited for you. I think you're doing amazing things. And I can't wait to see your name. And I say, I know that girl. She was in our pitching room. And look where she is today. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
The only
Amazing.
final things I'll say is I was super impressed with how much runway you got out of those 90 seconds. It felt like you put so much in. And I remember just thinking, wow, there's so much happened. And I looked at the clock and there was still 30 seconds left. I was like, wow, this is, I don't know how you did it, but you managed to get so much into that 90 seconds. Regards to whether it should be you or your project, I would say that depends on the situation, but I would probably prepare two. I would prepare one where you're talking about yourself and you're naturally bringing it in just the way that you did. But I would also absolutely make sure you have got mini pitches for every project you work on. So when you go in there, I'd make sure you have a log line that you know is comfortable, that you're confident with, and use that log line to make a mini pitch. And there's a crazy thing that I can't even remember which book I read it in, but there's one screenwriter, and what they do is they'll just go up to somebody in a queue at a coffee shop and they'll say, can I pitch my film to you? And see what you think, and they'll just say it. You can do that with business ideas as well. There's people that do that in coffee shop queues. They'll say, I've got a business idea. We're waiting in the queue anyway. Can I just pitch you my business idea? And surprisingly, many people will say yes. They're not doing anything anyway. They're waiting for the Starbucks. So why not have a little bit of intellectual conversation and learn a little bit more? And these are people that can give you some amazing feedback. They don't have any skin in the game. They're not. They've just had. You've just come up to them and they'll say it as it is. And the very last thing I will wrap up with, and I think it was Kirin who said this, is what is it that they want? And that is a massive thing to think about. Everyone over the last 4 hours has been pitching. And a really important thing to think about is not only your pitch, so your control over your thoughts and your actions, the other person over there, they want something. What is it they want? Are they looking? So if you're looking at film producers, they might have really specific asks. So there's something really specific in terms of what you're covering in terms of the domestic violence thing. There might be producers that are absolutely crying out for that type of content because that's what they're looking for. And if you know that what they want is what you're presenting, that's a match made in heaven. And that applies in screenwriting, that applies in business, that implies in how you pitch to investors. But I think that's an amazing thing for us to end this session on today. Wow, we did it. 4 hours. Alessia, make sure you put all your links and everything. If we can watch anything online, please put it in the chat. Thank you, everybody.
Excited.
Does anyone else want to add anything else? Anything?
Just really want to thank everyone, especially those that stayed with us for the full 4 hours. I'm feeling absolutely exhausted. It's been so exciting. The 4 hours have gone extremely fast. I will be looking forward to getting some food and actually having a break. But I'm just in awe of people that stayed for the 4 hours with us, and I'm hoping that everyone has got as much from this as I know that we have. To our panelists and to everyone who's been pitching, and for Kenneth who's stayed all the way through with us as our panelist, giving really good feedback, and for Kirin who's joining us from the other side probably in a really nice place that I'm sure Alessia, we will have a lot of contacts for you there. But it's just been such an amazing experience, really has. And for Chris who has set it all up. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone. It's been incredible. And for everyone pitching, your stories are amazing. It's been so lovely to hear your stories and just to share your pitching and your dreams with you.
I think just to add on to that, huge thanks to absolutely everyone. I think special thanks goes to Coral and Chris for obviously setting up, getting everyone here. It's not an easy task. A lot of late nights, early mornings, many Excel revisions, and all of that happens in the background. So amazing hosting, moderating, and doing everything, putting that together. And fantastic to see our panelists like Samuels and Kirin. Yeah, just been great. But I think one thing that kind of typically doesn't really get said, that should be said, is it's easy to be on a panel, it's really hard to pitch. So what we're doing on our side is just looking at you guys and saying, okay, I tweak this, I tweak that, but we don't have the nerves, we're not on stage, we're not having to practice loads and loads of different things. So in all honesty, the real kind of MVPs of the day are everyone that pitched and everyone that kind of, submitted their pitches. It takes a lot to do that. And then the last shout out I'll do would be to this fan right here, because without it, there was no way we were surviving 4 hours, absolutely not. So really glad we did that. And one last thing I'll end on is for everyone that's kind of looking at like storytelling and narrative building, which is a complicated world as it is. I made a free bootcamp that I'm happy to share with anyone and everyone in all honesty, if you're looking to refine your narrative. And I'm happy to connect with all of you on LinkedIn. In all honesty, I could have spent my Saturday doing lots of different things, but it's been great to share it with you guys. So yeah, I'll stop there and share some links.
Yes.
And may I just say, Chris, congratulations to you for doing your first event like this. These things are hard, so you learn by doing. I'm sure you have some things you'd like to do differently next time. And then I want to invite you to say what your call to action is. What do you want everyone here to do now that they've done this event? What is it?
Okay, so don't end here. Keep your pitching going. You've practiced today. You've got feedback. We are going to put the full recording of today's event online. If you are only able to come and join for your session, watch this back, or just when you have the opportunity. I think there is so much power in being able just to listen to pitches, get that feedback. The more you pitch, the more your story changes. The more you speak with people, the more that you actually have that confidence. And I would actually say, if today has made you feel scared or nervous, making you feel like you're coming out of your shell, give yourself a huge pat on the back, because you have done something that not many people would have the confidence of doing. So big, massive well done to everybody who has pitched tonight. And I know some people, it's been your first time ever pitching, and that is daunting. The first time you ever put something out, it's vulnerable. Like you're showing a lot of vulnerability. What if people don't like my pitch? What if they just don't even like give me positive feedback? I thank you so much to the panelists for making sure that the journey we've had tonight has been supportive all the way through. So I couldn't have done this without all of you. So I am so appreciative of that. Call to action. Make sure that you keep pitching, keep practicing, go to more events. There are lots of resources out there. We've shared the link with our top tips. Connect with us. So connect with Kirin, connect with Kenneth, connect with Coral and myself, see how we can help you. I think the network and the connections that you can make from these types of events are absolutely priceless. And both Kenneth, Kirin, Coral, myself, we've all got very different experience from different sides of the world. That's my call to action.